Welcome back once again. Another week, another day, another time. Another Shadowverse Open for you guys. Season 2 we are in. European Top 12. The second week of round robin play. I'm Rainey, and joining me is the Pickens and the Carter. I'm trying to find new creative ways of introducing you guys.
You know what? The Carter works for me, my man.
The Carter? What about the Pickens?
Whatever.
I kind of like that one. Up for the Pickens. I just gave you a new podcast name right there. Up for the Pickens. Yeah. Oh, well, hey, Shadowverse competitive is a thing. So we are here to talk about some of these great players. We have gathered the top 12 players of the European region. Let's take a look at the tournament format and see how they managed to get to this point. 3 weeks of open bracket play. They competed in amongst a large variety of players there. And we found the top 12 from those 3 weeks. And back to us. And we found the top 12 of those 3 weeks. And we divided them into 2 groups of 6. So what's going to happen within those groups is we are going to be playing a round robin within those groups. That means each player in the group plays each other player in the group one time. And at the end of all of that, it's like 5 matches per person. At the end of all of that, we take the top 3. And they will move on to a double elimination bracket and play to see who is the top competitor. $16,000 in prize pool on the line for both, each for Europe and North America. Let's take a look at the standings and see what those groups are. There's a lot of interesting names in the European region that aren't quite as familiar as the North American region because we've had a whole season with them. But take a look at Group A: Akamaru Red, Praetorian, Kionis, Lanathel, Akai, and Sheepy. And then over in Group B, we've got Symphonis, Catch, Sizoni, Derzello, Essia, and Fatina. Now, the interesting thing to note is nobody in Europe has gone 0-2 yet. Similarly, I think Europe is the North American region does not have a winner that is 2-0. So it'll be interesting to see how the round robin plays out, and obviously, as more games happen, we're going to get a better diversity of scores, but that's kind of where we sit right now. So we've got Akamaru Red kind of heading up the round robin. Do you guys think he's going to continue his momentum? What do you think, Aya?
I think if he plays like he did last week, he certainly will.
And certainly going up 2-0 is no small feat, right? If you've got 2 out of your 5 matches out of the way, and you're sitting, at the top of the leaderboard, you're feeling pretty good. Of course, there's more to go, so there's going to be more matches to be played and more round robin to be had. 2 more weeks of it. But let's take a look at the schedule for today and see what matches we have lined up for us. Akai versus Sheepy, Kionis versus Praetorian, Lanathel versus Akamaru Red, Essia versus Fatina, Sizoni versus Symphonis, Derzello versus Catch, and then Catch versus Sizoni. So, Exodium, in your mind, what is your match to watch today? What is the match that you're most looking forward to, if you had one?
Honestly, it's going to be the same from when I cast it a few weeks ago. I want to see Sizoni play. From what I can tell in the brackets right now, Sizoni's Conjuring Force rune did not get banned at all again today, and I really want to see if it still has the chops like we saw last time to just completely flush out its opponents.
One would think that after watching the open bracket tournament, everybody would have respected the deck a little bit more because that thing did work. That thing came back from losers bracket, and even then, he won through all of losers finals and then reset the grand finals and won the grand finals after it got banned. But we'll see. Snow Daria is through 2 times, and Sizoni is definitely one of the most eye-catching, I suppose, players right now in the European region. Both very animated and running a very cool runecraft deck where everybody is running Taboo Levi, right? Levi. You know what? Let's have a vote. Who votes Levi? I votes Levi. Who votes Levi?
I'm a Levi man.
You're a Levi guy? I'm a Levi guy too. All right. Yeah. Looks like it's not up for the Pickens today. It's not up to the Pickens today, I suppose. All right, let's drop that pun faster than I'm going to drop this message to you guys. Shadowverse.nge.io is the location to go if you want to find information about when the tournaments are happening, who these players are. We also got some great content, like some player interviews. Sizoni, speaking of the devil, had the very first interview. I believe Botals is the next one. I'll have to double check. You can find out for yourself if you go to the website. Also, the social media channel at Shadowverse Game. Definitely go there, and you can see announcements of cool events, Shadowverse stuff, hashtag NSVO with who you want to win. Is it Akamaru Red? Is it Sizoni? Is it Sheepy? Is it anybody in the European round robin? Because anything can happen. Remember, they just have to be top 3, and then they move on to the finals bracket. So, let's talk about our first match of the day. Akai versus Sheepy. Interestingly enough, now Sheepy on Disaster, I believe previously on EXG. Disaster seems to be the home of a lot of competitors who kind of have moved on from their old teams, and now they're building a new kind of house of elite players. But let's take a look at some of these decks. Bat Blood, Aegis Haven, Nep Shadow versus Garuda Haven, Mid Shadow, and Burn Rune. Alright, I want ISFI to pick one side and Exodium to pick the other side, and you guys argue for which one you think will take the win. ISFI, okay. Go ahead, your choice.
Oh, man. I just want to point out I hate this. Because I'm usually on the losing end.
I love it. I love it.
I'm going to have to go with Sheepy on this one.
Mm-hmm. I think that I'm going to have to go with Akai, because I'm on the opposite side. That's just how it works, right? That's what we're doing here. He's got Aggro Bats, which has been performing very well, and he's also got Nep Shadow, which I think is actually a dominant deck right now that people are starting to pick up. We're going to see a lot of Nep Shadow today.
Is fighting and despair all you
Shadow
know?
doing well? Come on, man.
Come on, man. Shadow, it doesn't even matter what you play. If you got good Shadow cards in it, you're probably doing well regardless of what deck you play, so.
Yep. But Sheepy opted to lead with his Haven list, and his Haven list had some very interesting cards in it. It's got Gilgamesh in it, man. Like, it's got a one-of
I've actually been seeing Gilgamesh rise in popularity like crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, super crazy. I'm actually kind of confused, too. I thought Haven got banned out this match, but apparently it did not. Oh, no, it didn't. It got banned on Akai's side. There we go. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Gilgamesh has seen a lot more play. You see it in all the neutral variants, like Neutral Rune, Neutral Sword even is packing it sometimes now. Yeah. It's just Neutral Blood, if it's still there. It's just a really strong follower to finish off like an aggro or a mid-range game plan.
Not only that, but it gets buffed by Alice as well. So,
God. it feels good. You ever slam down a Gilgamesh and attack for, I don't know, like 8 with it, and you're just like, okay, all right. It's pretty good. All right, so let's get into the game here. So Sheepy's got a pretty good curve on the draw. He has the option between Snow White and Beast Call Aria that he can actually pop with a Hollow Dogma. So it might actually mean that Beast Call Aria is going to come down first here. And Akai has got an okay hand. He's got a slow hand, but this is how Nep plays out. Nep's got a couple things it does early. It tries to just kill things and just stall until turn 7 or 8 for when the Kawi and the Nep show up.
So, for those who don't know, Akai played Unica. Unica is a 2 play point follower 2/2 that at the start of your turn restores 2 defense to your leader. So, in a way, it kind of acts like a pseudo ward. Your opponent doesn't really want it sitting there for too long because Unica, if unchecked, can heal a lot. And it is incredibly frustrating to deal with if you're playing an aggressive game plan.
Yep. Absolutely. And like I said, Sheepy, so what he did there was he put an amulet in play that has a natural countdown of 3, which means it'll pop over the course of 3 turns. But Hollow Dogma gets to cheat that by removing 2 of the counters from it and popping it instantly after that first countdown went away at the beginning of the turn. So, very aggressive tempo.
Yep. So, he's just opting to just get rid of that right away. Pact at Another God. What Pact at Another God does is destroys an enemy follower with 4 or less defense, so it's just going to kill it. And if you enhance it, you get to summon a Pluto that gets the power and defense that of the follower you killed. So that can be very useful in a later game. Of course, he decided to use it early game because he just didn't want to take any unnecessary damage, wanted to protect Unica as well.
Absolutely. And so just to kind of go over the game plan, because it's kind of just a little bit back and forth right now, what Sheepy's trying to do is actually trying to be aggressive, which he's not been able to get a handle on doing so far. And what Akai is trying to do is, again, just stall to get the Mordecai out on turn 8, either by playing it itself or by playing Nephthys, which will put it into play. And Mordecai is the end game for this deck. It's just a 5/5 that can't die. It can be banished, though, which means that Haven does have a chance to actually remove it from play with cards like Priest of the Cudgel or Blackened Scripture, cards that actually just banish a follower and remove it from play. It doesn't actually trigger the last words of Mordecai, so it can come back into play.
Yeah, so I can just tell you from personal experience that as a Haven player, if I know that I'm fighting against Nep Shadow, which Sheepy would know, I'm going to be holding on to a banish, at least something. And even in this position right now, where he could play Priest of the Cudgel and clear the board or whatever, I would be holding on to it so that I would have something for that Mord.
Right, I think this turn is probably just an easy Ancient Lion Spear just to clear off the followers. I guess he could Tea-Time here. He doesn't really have a Garuda to pop the Tea-Time immediately the turn after, so it might not be the most heads-up play. But he decides to go with the March Hares. Either one's really fine. They do essentially the same thing.
Right. I think that holding the Ancient Lion Spirit may be a little better because, we know that, Shadow has access to cards like Zombie Party on 7, Death's Breath. It has, all those cards. Immortal Thane.
That's
just
true.
gotta take those
Breath.
things out.
Want to play?
And then we're gonna come up on a turn where Sheepy really has he is the more aggressive deck. He is like the mid-range / tempo deck. However, I think he's just gonna be playing a reactive game here. He's got plenty of reactive cards with multiple March Hares Tea-Times, multiple Dark Johns, which will clear off a bunch of 2/2s. He's got the Ancient Lion Spirit, he's got the Priest, a lot of reactive cards, not a lot of proactive cards. So basically, he's just going to see if he can weather the storm.
Yeah, Akai's in a bit of a pickle here. Slight pickle. He's not necessarily drawing the way he wants to draw. He would prefer to get these Mordecais out by using Nep. But unfortunately, he's not. So in order to protect himself, he played Underworld Watchman Kawi, which, when it dies, it will destroy whatever the strongest follower your opponent has, and you'll gain health equal to that. So, the
reset button.
And it will help you out a great deal. And it's actually really good when you play it off of Nep, because Nep will come down, it'll flood the board with things, it'll kill them all, and then the last words effects of those cards will still trigger.
Yep, and that's how the Mordecai comes out, because it doesn't die when it dies, technically, and then Kawi will trigger immediately because it will die. Alright, so Sheepy deciding to go with some tempo. He's got to start building a board here. He's got to start dealing damage at some point if he wants to win this game. But he honestly could just win by removing all of these Mordecais and just not allowing Akai to actually execute his endgame plan through these Mordecais.
And not to mention, Sheepy has a pretty easy banish on this Mordecai.
He's got a priest.
He does have a Priest of the Cudgel, which... he could trade both of these Snow Whites. I say both of them because that card access 2 cards. He can trade both of them into it. Then he can play Priest of the Cudgel. And when Priest of the Cudgel is evolved, it will banish a follower that has a defense of 3 or less.
Easy stuff. So basically all that's happening is Sheepy's going to say, you know what, I don't care what your end game is. I'm just going to try to slow pace through it, deal with everything that you play against me. Executing this, what we talked a little bit about in previous casts, how mid-range kind of works. It is a tempo deck, and it can have an aggressive start, but it also can transition into the late game with enough answers to basically just deal with what your opponent can do, and then just slowly push the game forward. And what he's kind of trying to set up to do right now is just set up a big enough board to where Dark John can come down and just push for lethal.
Yep. Well, right now, what's going to happen on Sheepy's next turn is that his March Hares from the couple of turns before, the one that's on 1 countdown, it will pop. So he will have yet another Tin Soldier in play. And Akai's things are looking pretty grim for him right now. He's just got this Mordecai that he can play, but I don't think, I was going to say, I don't think he wants to play that because he needs to, no pun intended, ward off the damage he's about to take. So,
right. So I think this is an easy Tin Soldier evolve. There's no way to actually get another space on board to play the Dark John this turn, though. So Akai at least has another room, or another turn of breathing room here.
So we see that, Sheepy had just a little bit of a deviation from what we know of standard lists for Haven, and it seems to be working for him right now. I mean, he built it to be just a little bit more aggressive, but instead of that, he's getting a far more controlling style of hand, and that Neff, though.
It's good, but it's not going to summon a Mordecai.
Yeah, because he's already got those. He will be able to kill 2 things, though.
It's not the worst. Again, like we were talking about with Kawi dying, kind of like a reset button, killing the biggest follower your opponent has, plus gaining all of his power back as health. So, keeping you in the game for a little while longer here.
And, wow. Okay, so Sheepy just drew a Black Inscripture, so if he wants to use that on, say, yet another Mordecai that comes down, he can combo that with his Dark John in hand, and that would be pretty sweet. So, but right now, he's going to have to, consider whether or not he's going to take out this Nephthys, or he's just going to hit him in the face.
I think, honestly, Sheepy's main game plan right here should stay the same. I think, honestly, he might even play the Dark John this turn and just forgo dealing with the next Mordecai just to keep pushing face. But he could also take the route of just, like we said before, extending the game. Like, he could play just the Divine Birdsong along with another March Hare's Tea Time just to, like, flood the board and just keep the action going. Okay, looks like he's going to go the more aggressive route. He's like, you know what? I don't care if you have another Mordecai. I'm going face.
I mean, he is putting his opponent at 6. So, you got Wallet Neff. I love it.
Wallet Neff, that's right. One of the new ones you can get out of the pre-boxed decks.
Yeah. And the other Neff is probably going to trade here. Yep. Even Wallet Neff on board.
Now we're coming down to the end game. I don't actually know if Akai can get back into this game. I don't think he can tempo back. He has no Evo points to claim board. He only has these big Mordecais that don't do anything when you play them.
Yep. Yeah, it's unfortunate that he drew all of his Mordecais. Like,
right.
How does that?
Exactly.
I mean, how bad do you feel after you draw all of your Mordecais, man? Like, this is bad luck.
That is bad luck. Can't pull them with Nephthys, meaning they don't just get into play for free.
Yep. You got to spend valuable time and whatnot against a deck that essentially counters you. So,
right. Exactly.
This feels awful, man.
So now Sheepy actually gets to take his mid-shadow in. Another type of mid-range deck that acts just kind of like the Tempo Haven deck that we saw. Has an aggressive early game plan, but can also go into the late game. And I think Akai is going to stick with his Nep Shadow deck. I don't see any reason for him to change that right now, because Nep Shadow is pretty good against mid-shadow.
Yeah. Oh, no, he changed. He switched to blood.
Okay. This is aggro bats. This is aggro blood. He wants to go face. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of this.
Yeah. But he does have the unfortunate unfortunate side effect of going second. So that could play against him.
And it looks like Sheepy's doing a tech I've been seeing lately on ladder of running an Ephemera just to combo with Phantom Howl, which is another nice way to push late game damage. And maybe even trade off some smaller followers in the beginning if you have a good curve going first. I don't know if you keep it here. What do you think about Ephemera? I'm never really comfortable with keeping it.
The thing is, he knows that he's going to be playing against aggro blood, right? And do you really want a card in your hand that just does nothing on turn 4, right? So
you don't really need the extra power against the aggro bats cards, yeah. Much better curve.
But he did get a much better curve.
Yep. So this is actually a more aggressively minded mid-shadow deck. Still mid-shadow, but more aggro shadow.
Yeah, he got Orthrus in there. So
Orthrus, Skeleton. Is it Skeleton Fighter, Skeleton Knight? I always forget the name of the one on the far right up at the top. Skeleton Fighter. Right.
Yeah.
Getting that fight on.
Well, Sheepy opting not to play the 1-drop That's an interesting
Waiting for the
line.
shadow.
Do you really want to
It's
do that against
interesting
aggro?
going first. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, not playing the 1-drop there, like, when are you ever going to be able to play it? He can play it on turn 3, but how likely is he to have the shadow by then anyway?
Right.
And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, Skeleton Fighter is a card that's 1 play point for a 1/1, but if you have a shadow, it becomes a 2/2. So it makes more sense to hold on to it until you have a shadow, but right now, I don't know. Well, now he can trade. Now he can if he wants to.
And just to let everyone know what a shadow is, whenever a card dies or it goes for any reason or is discarded, like from your hand, let's say you overdrew, you gain a shadow. So shadow, the class, as a mechanic, is to take advantage of shadow, the mechanic. So
Yes. Shadow. Shadow.
Think you beat me.
Yep.
Alright. Easy plays. So the Zombie Party top deck was perfect. It allowed him to regain tempo, play his 1-drop for value. Get going here. Like,
Pretty sure you Angel of the Word here. Angel of the Word can, or not.
Show begins.
yeah, that was an interesting play. He doesn't shave any damage off the board.
Yeah.
It doesn't really set up for anything either. There's no, like, Vampiric Fortress to, like, you know, keep Bat synergy going or anything like that. Night Horde.
Arthur's has arrived.
Yeah, like I feel like he just was like, you know, man, hit me with
I'm gonna
everything
take
you
that
got.
extra damage. That's right.
Right.
Hit me with what you got. Exactly.
Me, Vania.
All right, so Vania coming down. He'll play the Summon Bloodkin. He'll do 2 damage off of this. For you don't know, Vania has an effect that whenever a Forest Bat comes into play, it will deal 1 damage to your opponent. And then her evolution effect is that she'll summon a Forest Bat. So, in combination with other cards that generate bats, such as Killer Devil or the Summon Bloodkin, or even off of her own effect, she can do a substantial amount of damage to the opponent.
I don't know if I like this trade. This, again, is just leaving a bunch of damage for Sheepy to deal if he wants to. Basically, Akai, the way he's been playing this game, is just allowing Sheepy to do whatever he wants to do. He's been going for pure value in a matchup that's aggro versus aggro, right? So I don't know if that's correct line of play. I think he's taking a lot of extra damage this game that he doesn't need to.
To the bone.
He's leaving way more openings that he probably wouldn't have had he gone with, say, a different line of play. Like, for instance, last time playing the Big Knuckle Bodyguard, evolving to take out a follower, and then saving the plate for later.
Right.
Or in the turn before that, playing the Angel of the Word to take out the 1 defense follower. So it's like he's just leaving up this unnecessary damage that could cost in the game.
Yep. And Sheepy's just thinking, do I really need to trade with the Vanya here? Can I value trade? Because I think I'm ahead in board. I have the Phantom Howl to finish with. He's got a lot of options here. I think he should just take out the bat and go face. Like, he's in a much different position than Akai's in. He has the board.
Yeah.
And that looks like what he's going to do.
Now, that was a draw. And he's not.
Wow. Again.
Yeah, I'm really puzzled here.
So,
like,
Big Knuckle Bodyguard deals 2 damage to him. He could have just waited until he was in Vengeance range to not take 2 damage from it and maybe even play the Sabrewer that turn and even use his play points better.
Yeah.
Interesting choices.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just taking a lot of free damage this game.
Yeah, I think he's just like, this is the way I'm playing the game. That's it.
That's it. That's right. At least he's consistent. At least he's consistent. I'll give him that.
Very consistent. It would be the ultimate shut up if he wins this match.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, Sheepy's hand does not look good with the amount of shadows that he has access to. So, like, his early game looked good, but his mid-range options are Phantom Howl when he's got 3 shadows left. If he was able to generate maybe a little bit more shadows early in the game, he could have Phantom Howled into Phantom Howl just to win the game outright. But as it stands, he's going to be out of shadows here pretty quickly.
Yeah. So he opted to play the Little Soul Squasher before generating the shadow because he wanted to be able to play his Phantom Howl. Because the Little Soul Squasher, if he had the amount of shadows that he would have actually ended up using up all of his shadows, so he wouldn't have any shadows for Phantom Howl.
Okay, so basically just setting up for lethal next turn. He's like, look, Akai, if you've got it, you've got it, but if you don't, I'm gonna win.
Yep.
This ache, this thirst, quench them.
So we're gonna put a wrench in that plan by gaining 2 health back.
So Akai's gameplay up to now, although to us questionable, is kind of working out. It's because Sheepy's just kind of out of options.
Yep, he just ran out of cards. Ooh.
Oh, that's a card.
That was
But
pretty
he
good
only
draw.
Yeah.
He only has the 4 shadows, so it's only gonna be able to take out 1 faller, which will be the Sabrewer, and then he can evolve to take out the Big Knuckle, which he will most assuredly do. There's no way you can leave that in play.
Afraid of.
Nope. Not when you're at 6.
No.
Faces. That one didn't count.
All right.
Now
So Akai could drop. Oh, that's game.
Oh, never mind. Great
I was
top
gonna
deck.
say something,
You're too strong.
but it appears that Akai won the match. Despite the earlier game decision.
The greatest thing about playing Blood when you're playing Razory Claws is just randomly top decking them and finishing off your opponent, just like you saw. You're just like, you know what? This game could be getting really hard right now. Never mind. We're good to go. Easy peasy.
Yup.
So now we actually get the matchup of the Nep Shadow versus Aggro Shadow. So this is Sheepy's deck, definitely a lot more aggro than mid-range. Has some mid-range cards, but definitely more aggressively minded, as we saw. This is really going to depend on who's on the play and what kind of draw that Sheepy gets. Because technically, I think Nep is favored.
Yeah, Nep is definitely favored in this matchup, primarily due to the to Kawi and to the massive amount of early game removal the deck tends to pack. So, but we do see Akai running Hell's Unleasher, and I can't remember the last time I saw that in a Nep list. So, or rather, any list. So,
did he full keep that hand right now? The Nep Fist and the Hell's Unleasher on the draw? Interesting.
He's like, you know what, man? I don't even care. This is
I don't even care. You know what? Doesn't matter to me.
Nope.
I don't need a mulligan. So Sheepy with a great curve here. He's got a 1-2-3. We'll see if he gets anything after the 3 drop.
Hey, who's so angry?
Alright, so Bone Chimera coming down. But Akai's hand is kind of, you know.
The keep of the Hell's Unleasher was really weird to me. I don't know why you keep that. Maybe that's his only mid-game option of coming back on board with the Evolution Orb. So maybe that's what his choice was about, which I can see, especially if he didn't pack any other mid-game cards in his deck. But looking at Sheepy's hand, Sheepy does not have a great hand here. Sheepy's got like a mediocre hand, unless he can keep this board alive, which it doesn't really look like Akai can do much about, other than this Hell's Unleasher.
Yeah. I mean, well, I will say this. Hell's Unleasher animated, pretty sweet.
This one not so animated.
Yeah, not so animated, so it's not sweet. Sorry.
That means he doesn't play Shadow enough. Come on, what are you doing, Akai? You gotta get your Shadow games up. Let's go.
So, Sheepy has access to, a few plays. That Lyrio was a good draw. He'll be able to evolve the Lyrio, take out the Hell's Unleasher, and trade into the 4/4 that it leaves behind. And then still be able to go face for 3, leaving his opponent at 13. So, that is certainly a line of play that he could go for. And I think that is probably the line he's going to do.
Yeah, I can't really see anything else to do this turn. He could use the Zombie Party, but absolutely no reason to use that this turn. He could just completely ignore the Hell's Unleasher and Evo face. That's really the only other line to take here. And I think that's what he's like really harping on. He's like counting, he's like thinking, he's like, if I do that, what do I leave myself open to? He's got the Phantom Howl. He's got the O-Dial for an extra 2 damage. He's got the Phantom Howl. If the Ektar plan doesn't work, as in all the followers get removed from his side of play. So I kind of actually like going aggressive here. Doing a little Evo to the face, drops him to 11, and then an O-Dial the turn after drops him to 9. Phantom Howl essentially puts him on 2. So yeah, that's what he's doing.
That's what he's going to do. Seems good.
Ow, ow.
All right.
My boss works us to the bone.
He's thinking about trading here. I don't know why he would. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, if you went through that, you're committed to going face.
Yeah, you gotta commit. My friend.
You're definitely committed. Okay, so Akai is in a little bit of trouble here. He will.
Your offering. Finally a
Okay.
break.
You beckoned.
Full clear.
All right.
Like a boss.
All right. So for those who don't know, the Hell's Unleasher, when it dies, it leaves behind for Lich that falls into a 6/6. So yeah.
Oh my
there's
goodness, he's got combo now.
Yeah, he's got Ephemera, but I was about to. I don't see.
I think he's just pushing, just like I said. He's doing that game plan of I'm just gonna keep dealing damage and try to kill you before you can play a Kawi. I don't know if he's gonna be able to accomplish that goal though.
Yeah, he needs to get to 8 play points in order to, straight blow out with
Awaken is here.
Ephemera Phantom Howl. Because he didn't go for it this turn. So he's going to need 8 play points for that, and currently he's going to be on 7 during his next turn. So this Demon Eater is going to trade into the O tile, and then that's face. So Akai has managed to survive up until the point where he can jam a Kawi.
I'll live again.
Yep. And Kawi will definitely help him here.
Yep.
Although, man, that combo is looming, dude. That combo, though.
It is looming. Oh, he
The
just decided to
combo
go
I'm
face-
talking about, for those of you who don't know, Ephemera will pump all of the Phantom Howl tokens an extra power. So instead of getting all 5 tokens and dealing 5, you play Ephemera and get 4 tokens and then deal 8.
But this is going to be 10 damage.
That's 10 damage right there.
Yep. So
Got to 8 play points, dealt with the Kawi appropriately. That's game.
Yep. So scummy, man.
So scummy.
So scummy, man.
When you die like this, you're just like, really? Oh, look at him!
And he even did the pose!
There you go,
Yeah, he
Sheepy.
did the
I like
pose!
it.
Oh my god. Disastrous Sheepy there with a huge win. Look at it. He's so elated that he got to roll. Ephemera is one of my favorite. Yep. Right. Everybody's got the fever going on right now. Ephemera, the angelic slacker, to combo with Phantom Howl. That's pretty incredible. So 2-1 will be the win here for Disastrous Sheepy, off the back of a good combo centric deck there. I mean, he had a lot of different methods of closing out the game with mid shadow, right? There was Ector. There's just board control. Just in general, we've seen time and time again that can win games for you. And then he had the Phantom Howl, the Storm element to it as well. So I think that was very well done. What do you guys think about the match? Talk to me a little bit about Akai's choice here for decks, as well as kind of his Nethys deck. Do you think this is classically how the matchup plays out, IS Senpai, or do you think Nethys Shadow gets a different matchup against Mid Shadow?
I think usually it gets a little bit of a different matchup. The thing is that Akai was running what I would say would be a very unorthodox list for Nep. He was running Hell's Unleasher, which is typically not seen. In many ways, Hell's Unleasher can be a turn 4 do nothing, and turn 4 is one of the most important turns in Shadowverse. Like whether you're going first or second is one of the most pivotal turns of the game, and I just don't think that decks can really afford to be playing cards that are just doing nothing on turn 4. So yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule to see what matches we have up next. And Akai versus Sheepy is done now. Sheepy will gain the win. Kionis versus Praetorian is next on the docket. Let's take a look at some of these decks. Kionis has a Temptress Vampire Vengeance Blood deck, which is not something that we've seen a lot of blood decks. We have not seen a lot of Temptress Vampire. What is Temptress Vampire? What does the card do? And why is it used in this lineup, Exodia?
Sure, so Temptress Vampire is just a really good late game tempo card. It's kind of a weird way to represent tempo, but essentially it puts you back in the game, it takes the board back over, and it takes you right back up to a healthy life total, so somebody can't like kill you outright on the following turn. And it's a good end game push. If you're ahead, then you literally just push ahead, you play the Temptress, you go face with it. It deals 5 damage, you gain 5 life, so I can specifically explain it. But it just pushes you into this end game that is really hard to come back from your opponent.
And so that's going to be kind of his list, and another Nep Shadow in his pocket as well. So 2 times in a row we're going to see Nep Shadow. Over on Praetorian side, it's going to be Mid Shadow and Lion Haven. Talk to me a little bit about what the goal for Lion Haven is. I feel like it's one of the Havencraft decks that we actually haven't seen a lot after the expansion dropped, kind of in favor of Aegis and Garuda. Talk to me a little bit about Lion Haven, IS Senpai.
All right, so Lion Haven is a deck that basically just wants to come out the gate swinging. It's going to be neutral heavy, so you're looking at tons of just basically neutral Haven, and Lion is kind of like what allows it to use other amulets and stuff like that. So most of the time you're going to see Lion combined with cards like Dual Flames. You'll see it combined with Marcher's Tea Time or Beast Call Aria. So you'll see it combined with those. And for those who don't know what Lion actually does, for every neutral card that comes into play on your side, its cost gets reduced by 1. And when it comes into play, it will pop an amulet that's in your hand, okay, that costs 5 or less. So basically, you can use it to play any of those, and you can just generate massive amounts of tempo.
Yep, it's kind of like Daria, but for Havencraft.
Yeah,
exactly. If you guys remember Daria from Suzune's deck, just being able to pump out a bunch of cards for free.
Yep. So we have both of these guys on camera, and Kionis is playing a little bit more of a traditional Nef list. He's got a lot more early game removal than Akai's list that we saw in the last match. And Praetorian is just playing Mid Shadow. So I think this matchup should play out basically the same exact way that we would think that it would, just based on this current starting hand.
Yeah, so Praetorian a little bit less of an aggressive deck than we saw on Sheepy's end, because we see the Grimnir. It still is running Orthrus, but it's running a little bit more of a late game package and a mid game package instead of the Skeleton Fighters and all that kind of stuff. But Kionis' deck is, like you said, a lot more traditional, a lot more things like wards, card draw, just to get to the end game, as opposed to like the weird kind of interactions with Hell's Unleasher and things like that. So,
all right, so he's going to trade the Bellbringer into that so that he can draw a card, and more than likely he's going to kill it. Okay, there you go. And Soul Hunt is a card that will deal 3 damage to a follower, and it will gain you a shadow on its own. So because that card was played and the card effect itself will give you a shadow, the card actually generates 2 shadows on its own.
Yep. So basically makes your Death's Breaths easier so that you can... That's essentially what it is. Like, you want to make sure you always have 6 shadows by turn 6 when you're playing a defensive shadow deck, so that you can cast Death's Breath and get the ward enhancement effect out of it, essentially. Let's see. Praetorian is kind of looking a little rough right now. Like, his draw is okay, but he's not really able to push anything. Again, hasn't dealt any damage yet. Isn't really looking to push that much damage right now. He might be able to come back a little bit with Goblin Princess, but again, that's not a high damage follower.
No, it's not. And we're kind of starting to see like one of the problems with oh man, he is bricking hard over there. Like,
yeah,
those are not cards you want to be seeing right now.
Yeah. We saw Orthrus used to good effect before because there was a board and there were followers to kill, but with nothing to kill, nothing in play, Orthrus just sits in your hand. It's kind of a do nothing.
Yep.
My boss works him to the bone.
So he could opt.
Prepare yourself.
This goblin.
Things are killing me.
And I think it's fine. He can trade, or he's definitely going to trade. And I don't think he plays a soul conversion here. I think you just kind of wait.
Finally a break.
Or do you play the soul conversion? Really?
I think he really just wants to get to a Death's Breath, which he did get to. When I'm playing Nep against any aggressive deck, all I want to do is set up a Nep and set up a Death's Breath, just in case. And the 4/3 can do something, but it can get soul squashed. It can get evolved into, like, he's playing super defensive. He's not even allowing the 1/2s to get through. He's like, nuh-uh. Nope.
Well, I mean, okay, so here's a question. If you're a Praetorian right now, like, Praetorian is substantially behind. And by that, I mean, every time he tries to muster up any type of tempo, he's just stopped at the gate. How would you adapt your game plan if you were him to be able to come out of this situation?
Yeah. So Praetorian basically just needs to flood as much as he possibly can. Like, one big follower at a time isn't going to do it against a Nep deck because they have Kawi, they have Nepthys. You've seen how those interactions work. You need to literally just keep presenting the biggest board you possibly can every single turn so that those cards don't affect you very much and you can start dealing damage. But honestly, at this point, it's going to be very hard. Very, very hard.
Especially since we know that Kionis is sitting on 2 Neps in his hand. So we're going to be seeing that come out. And that's going to be pretty much going to spell some major trouble because those Neps are going to pull some Mordekais. And Shadow has a hard time dealing with Mordecai. So it's going to be rough.
Shadow actually has the hardest time dealing with Mordecai. You have to go around Mordecai with Shadow.
Yeah,
because there are no banish effects. There are no ways to really get rid of it.
And we did see him just draw. You did see Praetorian just draw a Serb, so he could play that. He's still sitting on 3 Evo points too. Like, he's got them stocked up for next winter, bro. Like,
yeah, he's ready to go. Winter's coming, and he's ready. Absolutely. Okay, so he's going to decide to push with the Serb instead of the Ektar this turn. That makes sense. Like, maybe saving Ektar to get a full board with it, as opposed to just getting 1 extra follower with it.
Alright, so he opted to trade to use the Beamy to take that out, and then he'll evolve the Skeleton, take out another war. So,
and then probably Coco to take out the last one.
Yeah, what he's doing right now is he's successfully, for the time being, managed to build a board. He's been very unsuccessful throughout this entire game at building board.
I think this turn is just an easy Nep. He actually might save Nep to gain life, but I like the advantage it gains you here. You get to kill at least 1 follower.
Ooh.
Oh, Goblin Princess.
Goblin Princess. That's so sweet, dude.
Interesting tech. So he's playing a 2-5-7-8 Nep. Interesting. So he gets extra wards out of this. I haven't seen this configuration.
This is pretty sweet. I gotta say, I'm digging what I just saw.
Yeah, pretty nice. And Goblin Princess, just like it died on the side of Praetorian, died on the side of Kionis, gets you a 4-play 0.55 with ward. So big defensive card.
Not only that, but Praetorian right now, he's even further behind than he was before. Like,
yeah, this is I was gonna say this is a finally perfect time for double Orthrus play, because he can push a lot of damage with it and fill up the board again.
Right.
I think he just has to ignore what Kionis is doing.
Yeah, and I know how hard that can be, to just straight up ignore the massive 7-4 and a 5-3
right.
that's in your face.
But you just gotta do it. Like, you gotta imagine they don't exist and just keep pushing face until you win.
Yep. But at least he's going to do 8 damage. This would be effectively the first damage he's done the whole game.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of options for Kionis here. He could play out a Kawi just to, like, stuff up the board. He could...
They're so fresh.
Okay. Just deciding to go with the super safe play is probably this plus a Kawi.
Yeah. Or the Goblin King. Oh, well, the Goblin King does allow him to play the Soul Hunt.
Yep.
So making maximum usage of his play points.
Yep. And this is going to have to be an Ektar turn from Praetorian. He has to now respect what his opponent is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Praetorian he's got his head tilted to the side a little bit, kind of like,
Kionis has got his end of the game face on. He's like, all right, all I got to do is, he's like, I got to count how much Ektar damage can actually be dealt to me next turn. All right, I'm not dead. Okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Yep.
Yep. Comes to the conclusion that Ektar cannot kill him. Well, maybe not. Still thinking.
Well, I mean, Ektar definitely can't kill him, but guess we'll see what he decides. And he's really thinking on this last one. Okay, there you go. Hit him in the face.
Yeah, so this is a must Ektar or Death's Breath turn.
Now,
Both of them don't feel great.
I think that Ektar might be a little better because at least Ektar will help clear off a lot of the board, and he can even take out the Mord so that the Mord goes back to being a 5/5. If he Death's Breath and for some reason, Kionis has, I don't know, a Foul Tempest or whatever, he's just opening himself up to lose the game on the spot. So I think Ektar is just a better play.
Yeah, I think you can actually Ektar. I mean, Ektar also opens up the use of Zombie Party this turn too, so
This head can be taken.
makes the most sense.
And for those who don't know, Demon Lord Ektar, aka the bane of most people's existence in Shadowverse, when it comes into play, it has Necromancy 3, summons a zombie for every 3 shadows that you had. So, all you have to do is play Shadowverse and you're rewarded with this wonderful, wonderful...
Right.
I'll show you.
Okay. I think he might actually ignore the Mord here and keep his 2/2 in play because there's no real way for Nephthys to effectively deal the extra 1 point of damage, and I like this.
Okay. I don't know,
But
I'm always of the cautious mindset, I don't know, man. I don't want to leave any damage unchecked and somehow he just Phantom Howls me and I'm dead. I guess he'd be dead to Phantom Howl either way, but still.
right. Well, this with open deck lists, you can straight up look at Kionis' deck and be like, okay, it has nothing to deal 1 damage to me. I can allow this.
Right.
Lunatics like you.
I was speaking for myself. But
Right. Let's see if he decides to Soul Conversion this Kawi to be safe, or if he just wants to roll the dice. I want to see him roll the dice.
I think he should Soul Conversion that Kawi.
He probably
I
should.
think not doing it is kind of greedy.
It's a little greedy.
Yeah, I think it's kind of greedy. So I think that he definitely should Soul Conversion that Kawi.
With me.
Yep. Draws into a zombie party. Perfect.
And now he can play this Demon Eater he's going to play the zombie party. Okay.
Just get the damage off the board. Take no chances.
game-
However, Praetorian actually has a pretty good hand here. The Goblin Princess is going to allow him to actually push this game a lot further. That along with the Death's Breath. If there's not a good answer that Kionis has, this might just flip-flop right now.
Oh, man. And I think it just did. He does have
even
another
if
net.
he pulls, even if he pulls a Kawi though, he goes to 12, and there's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with Orthrus. So even another Kawi's not good enough. This is game. Wow.
Praetorian may have pulled himself out of the dungeon, the pit, whatever you want to call it. That's pretty sweet.
A well-timed ward or set of wards. That's all it took.
He held on to that Death's Breath for a very long time.
See if there's anything out of the ordinary. Nope.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else he can do.
That's game. Yep, that's game.
That's crazy. Praetorian not being able to deal any damage whatsoever until late in the game and still beating the control deck. That is awesome.
I mean, please see the lethal.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Praetorian, after playing like that, I imagine he sees the lethal.
Yeah. Okay.
My hat's off to Praetorian, man. That was a great game.
That was an excellent game. He had to take a drink after that one. He was like,
Yeah.
man.
You see Kionis like, what? How did I just lose that? I had firm control of that entire game. He had to shake that off, man.
Yeah. I feel you, man. I feel you.
I feel you too, man. That doesn't feel great. So now we get to see Praetorian's Tempo Haven deck.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Interesting. So another of the same style of matchup.
Yeah, it astounds me that Kionis lost that matchup, man. Like,
I know. It didn't seem like at any point that Praetorian was winning, but it was just that one swing turn.
sometimes
Goblin
that's
King
all it
plus
takes.
Death Breath, that's it.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes, guys. One turn.
So here's a similar type of match. Instead of a Nep deck, Kionis has more life gain accessible with a control blood list with things like Vampiric Kiss and Temptress Vampire that we mentioned earlier. And a resurgence of Blood Moon. Talk to me about Blood Moon, Aya. Why haven't we seen it lately, and why do you think Kionis is playing it right now?
Well, Blood Moon is a card that, when it comes into play, immediately gives you Vengeance. It puts you in Vengeance for a substantial amount of turns, like 4 turns, I believe. And I don't really include the turn that it's played if you play it on turn 3. So anywhere from 3 to 4 turns that you'll be in Vengeance. And the reason we haven't really seen it very much is because like the meta has actually just sped up a great deal. So because of that, it's made it incredibly hard to play Blood Moon in most decks. It was seeing a substantial amount of play when it was released. Everyone believed it was like, you know, the new
did.
and improved. Yeah, certainly did.
It was the second coming of Blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were just like, yo, this card is amazing. And then after like some really extensive testing, we were just like, I'd rather not play it.
Yeah, but it is going to set Kionis up for a really great couple turns here. You can play Belphegor without any of the negative effects, just drawing a couple cards. And then it also allows going into the next few turns after drawing easy revelations into this mid-range deck. So, very sweet.
Now, off of this Belphegor, he could draw a Diabolic Dream, and he would, well, he didn't.
Ooh,
He didn't
yeah,
draw
that would
that.
have been spicy.
Yeah, that would have been great. He wouldn't have to, burn an Evo point. He's opting not to burn an Evo point here,
Ow.
which I can understand why he wouldn't. Not burning an Evo point here.
Turn 6, he doesn't really have a positive Evo turn here, so I'm actually kind of confused. Yeah, I guess talk to me a little bit more about his thought process.
All right, so what I think is him not burning the Evo point, like, he's probably anticipating a really long game because he's playing a very grinder matchup. And for those types of matchups, like, using your Evos early can be, very detrimental to your ability to win the game as the game goes. So he's taking a risk by not going.
Yeah. I would say it's a pretty heavy risk because there's actually no way to deal with the 3/4 now. Well, actually, that's not true.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not entirely true.
That's not true. Yeah, that's not true. He could have Vampiric Kiss plus Evo'd. I guess that is a choice he could have made.
Yeah. So, we see that Praetorian has Lion, and I believe his Lion's at 2. So, he can pop that Beast Call Arya if he wants it. Unfortunately, Kionis does not he's not sitting on a lot of cards. So, I mean, he does have the Ilmarelda, but his Vengeance is going to be up next turn because the Amulet's going to go away. So, yeah, I think this is
the perfect turn for it because this is the turn right before Revelation can be played. Right out of Vengeance, right before 8 play points. It's like that perfect sweet spot of trying to flood the board, I think.
Yeah.
And you can actually do it alongside of another play in Grimnir, too.
Yeah. Oh, he's out. He's just passed again.
Hard pass.
These guys are so reserved.
So
I
reserved.
love it. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. It's like, man, be reserved, bro. But he can actually use Scarlet Brewer and the Vampiric Kiss to take care of that if he doesn't want to burn an Evo point. Alternatively, he could also use his Emeralda. Although, if I were him, and let's say I didn't know what my opponent's hand was, which, of course, we have the perfect information, but I would have actually gone out of my way to take out the Alice. Which he's going to... Okay.
Now he's going to burn the Evo point several turns later, on the same play, essentially.
Yeah,
but now he's in
it's
Vengeance.
literally the same play. But the situation is a little different because at the time he wasn't like sitting on a lot of options. Now he's got tons of late game options in hand. He's got 2 Emeraldas, he's got a Bahamut, he's got Temptress Vampire, so he's got a lot of options in hand.
I'm still very interested to know why Praetorian thinks that he can go this late against Blood and just not play his cards. Like, passing on turn 6... Like, I don't understand his philosophy for this game, like, how it's going to play out. Like, the only thing I can think of is he's waiting for maybe, like, a revelation to come out or something, and then just unload his entire hand, but... I don't see his game plan here.
If it were me, I would not be going through that line of play.
Especially against Control Blood, where you know they have a ton of late game.
Yeah, and not to mention, this is an incredible matchup for Control Blood. Like... This is a great matchup for Control Blood. So I feel like by playing in the way that he's been playing up to now, he's actually just kind of giving Control Blood exactly what it wants.
Right. Just plenty of time, not flooding the board on appropriate turns to, like, stop Kionis from being aggressive. Which is very interesting. Now, again, watch Praetorian just win. I mean, he knew how to win that last matchup. Maybe he just knows better than we do.
Hey,
I wouldn't put it past him.
He definitely won that last game. You know?
Yes, definitely.
He definitely won. So
yes, he did. Okay, he is going to be able to put together a nice little game plan here, which was allowed by Kionis by playing that second Belphegor and putting himself down to 10.
Yeah. Doesn't do anything though.
Yeah. Like this turn, I feel like it's got to be Garuda, right? Like you can't just keep waiting.
100% Garuda. 100%. I mean, you're
like,
gonna
Garuda,
get
Angel the Word Face. Like, let's go, Praetorian. Come on, buddy. Get that
you're gonna
damage
get annihilated by this. You're gonna get annihilated by this Bahamut, but you don't know that. So, like, you got to do something here.
And Garuda, for those of you who don't know, just basically finishes off any amulet that's in play. It'll just pop it immediately and deal 3 damage to your opponent while being a 4/4. It's a very good tempo play.
Yep. But unfortunately, yet again, one of the things that we kind of see with, you know, Blood Moon as a card, you see that it doesn't do anything after a certain amount of time.
Right.
He's opting. If he was going to do that line, Diabolic Drain.
Yeah, I think he made a mistake there. You see Kionis put his hands in his heads. Yeah.
He just realized it. He's like, what? Why did I do that?
Had lethal, accidentally played the Temptress Vampire first.
Yeah.
Yikes. And he actually just lethaled himself. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like, oh my goodness, man. How?
Yeah, I feel bad for him now. I've been in situations like this before. This does not feel good.
Does Praetorian see the lethal though?
This is a very easy lethal to see.
Whoa,
he doesn't see it.
What?
Oh my god.
You're kidding.
He didn't see the lethal.
He didn't see the lethal.
Goodness. Oh no.
Okay. Kionis gets a second breath here. Okay.
Over so soon.
Wow.
You can't miss these kinds of lethals.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Miss lethal into miss lethal.
Oh man, both.
Now the game's just over in Kionis' favor. He just plays Bahamut and wins the game.
Yeah. Kionis, okay, somebody threw him a bone. All right?
Yeah.
I want to know the gods that he was talking to.
Kionis' heart dropped into his stomach. When he watches this replay, he's gonna freak out, man. He's gonna freak out. I think Praetorian's gonna freak out too. This is the seesaw, man.
He is going to kick himself so hard.
Wait, is that a Dark Air Jammer?
Yeah, it is.
What? Maybe it's a tech card to pull the Spiderweb X. That I can understand.
That's fair, but wow.
Yeah, WoW was right. This game, super WoW.
Wow. He missed the double angel of the word lethal. Oh man, miss lethal after miss lethal. This game is now over.
Quench them.
Wow.
Alright, my heart needs a break for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost
Take
had
a
a heart
little break
attack.
here. Whew.
Almost had
The
a heart
gods
attack
said
on
we
that.
want a match 3. Okay, we want this to go all of it, all the way. Let's go.
Oh man, they both missed the lethal, and Kionis was rewarded for for it. Oh my goodness.
Whew.
Whew, man, I don't know if I can take too many more games like that.
I
dude.
know, I know. Whew. Yeah.
You guys trying to
My
kill
heart's
us.
going.
Oh man.
All right, relax. All right, so now we get to see Tempo Haven again versus Nep Shadow. So another just mid-range going into a control lineup. We'll see if these players can get back on track, get their hearts back up out of their stomachs, back up where they belong. See if they can push forward here.
Oh man. Okay. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. I took a few deep breaths. I think I'm okay.
All you know.
All right. Wow, that's a hand for Praetorian. I don't think you want to keep Alice in this type of hand though.
No.
Yeah, I don't think you
Yeah,
want to.
because Alice isn't really going to do anything. Doesn't keep the Beast Call either. That's very interesting to me.
Well, the thing is, he's on the draw, and I actually respect this decision a great deal. The thing that really is not very good for like Haven players is when they're on the draw and they have Beast Call Aria, and it just feels awful. However, yeah, I do understand your point of view. Where it's like, why not keep it, especially when you know that your opponent's playing Nep Shadow. So,
Right.
like,
that's the reason. Like Nep Shadow, I'm not afraid of any early shenanigans.
right.
And it gives me time to unleash a little bit of damage that's uncontested. But I can also respect it. Like you said, on the draw, Beast Call pops a little later. Maybe he's going for this type of a hand where he can get the Lion plus neutral followers early just to get a more tempo-oriented on the draw play.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Okay, so he's got the Beast Call Aria in hand, but it doesn't really do anything. He could play it, but
Yeah.
like, this is one of those times that he would have preferred to have played that on turn 2.
Yes. Had he kept it, yes.
Yeah, had he kept it, right.
And as it stands right now, like, this hand is just super brick city. Let's hope he draws something better here.
Oh my goodness, still bricking.
Yep.
Yeah, still
A bunch
bricking.
of amulets that don't do much. He could technically banish this Bellringer Angel into a Beast Call Aria, just for more tempo play, and then to basically, like, what you're really trying to do against Nep, if you can help it, is to just stifle their card draw. That's a really good way to stop what they can do. Because if, not knowing your opponent's hand, if they don't draw into Nephthys or Kawi, you have a pretty easy game against them. It's when they draw into those cards that the game actually gets a lot harder.
Agreed. All right, Temple of Inquisition. Not a card that we generally see very often, but for those who don't know, Temple of Inquisition has countdown 5. When it runs out of a countdown, you draw 3 cards. And for every card that dies, or for every card that dies during your opponent's side of the board, you reduce the countdown by 1.
Mm-hmm. So not necessarily a tempo card, but a way to refuel on top of the Sacred Plays.
Yep. And, oh man, Kionis' hand is just looking all bad. It's not looking good over there.
You mean Praetorian's hand?
Praetorian's hand.
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah.
I was saying correctly, sorry. Praetorian's hand's not looking so good. Kionis' hand is looking okay. Still not.
I mean, all you want to see when you're playing Nep is the Nep. Like, as long as you have that, you feel pretty good about your hand. You basically just keep stalling. Alright, I got a Nep. Alright, we're okay.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We're okay, guy. Okay. Whew.
Yeah.
I got the card I need.
Yep.
Good. Not to mention,
Okay.
he drew a second Nep.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to get his Mordecai's online. The second Mordecai is not guaranteed. Like, the way these Nep decks work, just to kind of, like, better explain it, is that when you play Nep, generally speaking, beyond Nep, you want to have a curve of 4 different casting costs of cards in your deck. From what we see from Kionis, he's playing 2 drops, he's playing 5 drops, he's playing 8 drops, and he's playing 7 drops. That way, when you play a Neptus on an empty board, you get basically your pick of the cards that come into play and the activators that happen. After a Mordecai's in play, though, the second Neptus has one less slot, so you're not guaranteed the effect that you want. So it gets a little bit dicier at that point. You kind of gamble a little bit.
Well, Praetorian's hand is... well, it's got some cards in it.
It definitely has some cards in it. Just drew into a couple goblins. Always happy to see those on turn 6.
Just
big
for those
shiny
who don't
noses.
Know, just for those who don't know, that is that's definitely not a card you want to.
Yeah, definitely not. But it looks like Praetorian's kind of playing the same game plan he had the last time against this Nep deck. He didn't really have any damage early game, but now he's going to try to set up some type of an end game where he thinks he can push through. And this is a good turn to do it right before Nep can hit. We don't see any Kawi at Kionis' disposal, so this is a perfect turn for him to go for it.
Yeah, Kionis is... I think he's in a little bit of a weird spot right now, primarily the fact that it is one turn before the Nep. And, okay, it looks like he's going to trade into this... or you trade him to Lyrio, right? Or not?
Yes, because regardless of what... well, actually, this trade is pretty heads up. So trading this way means that Black Inscripture and Priest of the Cudgel can't remove it from play. So he actually has to evolve into it or attack into it with one of the followers he already has. So I kind of like that evolve.
Well, at the same time, I feel like if I know, and I'm Praetorian, I know he's playing Nep, there's no way I'm playing Black Inscripture on that. You know? Like... There's
fair.
no way.
That's fair.
There's no way. But
Black Inscription is usually a good save. Yep.
Yeah.
It reduces the amount of options.
Yes, it does.
Because as it stands, he's going to have to play something out of his hand to evolve into this. And okay, so he might even Black Inscripture this Bellringer Angel with this play. That's kind of what it feels like.
Ooh.
Okay, so this line of play, yeah, Lion can work here too. This line of play is basically just to play around the Nep turn. He's like, you know what? I'm conceding to the fact that my opponent has Nep in his hand. I don't want him to gain any life off of the Nep, so I'm not really going to care about dealing damage this turn, which I really like. Another heads-up play from Praetorian.
Yeah, now they're both kind of playing heads-up right now, which is really good to see. You know, not so much in the first 2 games, but I think they kind of both got a feel for each other's styles now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is one of those games that's very interesting to watch because of the play styles. Like, the players kind of got a feel for each other, and now they're like... They're playing these really long games and just trying to, like, figure out how to get through what their opponent's doing. Like, Praetorian's doing it with not control decks, either.
You see?
Yeah.
I'm only getting stronger.
So, this just means that Praetorian is... kind of shifting the way he's thinking about playing out these matches. He's not all in on just pure aggressive lines, and he's just really taking the time to consider, okay, how can I play the same style of game as my opponent while beating him to it?
Yep. He's like essentially the same thing we saw in the last match, just holding all of the banish effects for things like Mordecai so that your opponent can't win. Not necessarily winning yourself as early as possible, but just denying your opponent the ability to do so. And I think that's just what's going to happen this turn. We're going to see that Mordecai get banished.
Yeah, you see Kionis nodding his head like, okay, knew that was there. So so he's got a 0 costing Lion. I believe that was 0. And he's got the Beast Call. This is great for him. Great. So now he's got a full board.
Tiger.
Oh, 100% Evo in that Tiger. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, bruh.
Let us conclude.
Or he's just going to go face.
Armor weapons more.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow.
This does give a really good trade into another Nep for Kionis. He can trade directly into that Tiger and then play a Nep to gain 4, go back to 18, and then Praetorian's sitting pretty hard pressed to win the game after that, I think. There's no Death's Breath to protect you in Haven, so...
Right, and I think, and what I was going to say is, I think that might have been a huge mistake on Praetorian's part. What he's essentially done is given his opponent the ability to clear his board.
Yep. And basically just like, maybe he could have done it with Shadow because you do have options with Death's Breath and thing like that, but when you look at the cards that the Haven deck has available to it, how is it really supposed to push into the late game once you have your Evos gone? Like, right. At this point, he doesn't have another way to deal with the second Mordecai, and there's not really any defensive options he has, period, and he's already at lower health. So... Kionis is definitely taking his time this time. He's like, I made a mistake last time. I will not do it again.
Yeah, well, he realized his mistake after he did it.
Immediately, yeah.
It was like, snap. Oh, no, I missed lethal. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
This world and the next are unchanging.
A Praetorian, I'm going to tell you this. If Praetorian loses this match right now, when he watches the replay, he's going to be really sad that he didn't just win up the match when he had the chance. Yeah, that's not going to feel good at all. But again, those are huge learning experiences. You won't do those things again, I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you make mistakes like that, you'll start making new considerations when you're playing your matches, and you'll be more adept at recognizing when you have lethal.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So anyway.
So this might be... Okay, he goes with the lion.
This is not... Well...
It's not bad. He's got that 1 health point again. Just that one.
Yeah.
That one lion over there.
He's an expert at playing at 1 health.
That's right. And for those of you wondering, your health is the biggest resource you have in this game. If you can play, as long as you don't die, you're using your health perfectly, right? And that's what Praetorian seems to be doing. In both of his games against Nep, he's gotten himself to 1, essentially, and then won the game. So we'll see if he can do it again.
So Kionis is probably going, why don't I run Phantom Howl? And
or a Cerberus or something.
Yeah. I mean, we see he's running 5,
Yep.
We see that.
Could be running Serb if he wants to. Obviously, this is a very random situation that he's found himself in twice now. But I don't think he's in bad shape.
And then I was saying, this time he's in a little better shape than he was the previous time.
Yeah.
And
like we said, the defensive options are they're just not as there. But this Grimnir can do some work here.
Now, what's incredible about this is Praetorian had that he cleared my board face. Like, I can't believe he actually cleared my board.
Yeah, oh no, my board though. Yeah, his only play here is Grimnir into attacking, yeah. Gotta clear board so he doesn't die. But again, how is he gonna win this? He's got a top deck like... Maybe he could go Divine Birdsong into Divine Birdsong to win this game.
That would be a very miraculous set of draws.
Yeah. It's the only thing I can see.
Alright, so he opted to trade there. To explain why he opted to trade, he wanted to essentially refill his Mordecai, so he didn't want to give his opponent an out in order to banish it.
I don't know if I like that though. I think I would have just gone zombie party face. Like you keep putting he always keeps putting himself in a position to where he can't lethal in 1 single turn, which keeps giving Praetorian an option to go an extra turn, go an extra turn, go an extra turn. So it does reset the Mordecai.
Well, you also have to consider that Kionis also knows Praetorian's deck, and there's like no way that we can see, and we're looking at it ourselves. Like, there's no conceivable way he can perform a lethal, and I think Kionis has probably also come to that same conclusion that he cannot perform a one-turn lethal.
There's no one turn, but like I said, if he went, like for instance, if he went Divine Birdsong into Divine Birdsong just now, Kionis would have given him that extra turn to do so because he didn't go face. So basically just allowing for things to happen that might not necessarily, or he might not necessarily need to do. He's playing a little too safe, maybe.
Okay. Well,
resurrect the master.
5-5 Pluto, and all this is to face.
Yep, and
Come on,
honestly, even with the Grimnir here, it's not going to
There's
matter.
nothing he can do.
Yep.
I think Praetorian is just kind of, seeing the writing on the wall. Sorry, man.
What a wild match, though. Like,
Yeah.
whew. Kionis, man.
The roller coaster battle.
Yeah. Uh-oh. The Peppo. Praetorian, you had it, man. You're gonna be even more Peppo when you realize what happened, but that's okay. I don't want to make you feel that way.
He even held up an illustration for us. Go ahead, brother. But unfortunately, doesn't matter. And Kionis right now is doing flips and whatnot. I mean, not literally, but maybe in his heart. And that's it.
Here goes the sit back in my chair. Bless up. Let's go.
There it is. Kionis taking the win 2-1. Praetorian feels real bad. He feels real bad about that. What a crazy match. I can't even remember really clearly. It feels like so long ago that they even played the first game in that match, because we went on a wild ride. There was actually something that I think Praetorian did that was really smart in the first match. To recap a little bit of it, I think it was the attendant of the night that he had. Eventually that caused the lethal because Nep popped the attendant, gave him the Lich, and the Lich was able to get that little bit of damage he needed to win. In fact, a few turns before then, he actually had to face up against, I think it was I think he was trying to clear some damage off the board, and he chose not to sacrifice the Attendant of the Night at that time, and instead evolve it to go face, and I think that was a very key play for him. Really interesting to see these two face up against each other, despite the fact that I think they missed lethal, in the second game. I actually feel like they were playing really, really smartly.
Yeah, outside of those two turns, I think that match as a whole was excellent.
Yeah, it was an amazing game.
As Twitch chat knows, and as anybody who's a fan of watching the Shadowverse Open, we love missing lethals. Hey, let's take a look at the schedule and see what's up next for us here. Kionis versus Praetorian ends 2-1 in Kionis' favor. Now we're going to see Lanathel versus Akamaru Red from HSK. Now, this match is a little bit more important in the sense that Akamaru Red is currently the leading player on the leaderboard. He could extend his score to 3-0, or it could be 2-1. I'm going to put it on you guys one more time. Lanathel versus Akamaru Red. Lanathel using actually a Swordcraft deck that was banned out. That was Hero of Antiquity and Fangblade Slayer. Kind of an interesting list. And then Mid-Shadow with the Mordekaiser thrown in there. Aegis Haven, that's on Lanathel's side. And then on Akamaru Red's side, there's actually a Dread Sea Dragoncraft deck that got banned. So he's running Mid-Shadow with Phantom Howl, and then Vengeance Blood. So, Exodium, it's your choice this time. Who is your favored player here? Why do you think they will win? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Akamaru for two reasons. One, I think his play has been outstanding since I've seen him in the NGE Open and in the last round robin. And also, he's playing a matchup that's favored towards him. They're both playing a mid-shadow deck into each other, but Akamaru Red has a Vengeance Blood deck going into a Haven deck, and I don't know if you guys have played Haven versus Vengeance Blood, but that is a very tough matchup. So I think he's got a slight edge in this matchup, beyond just being, I think, the better competitor at the moment.
Is there any hope for Lanathel, Aya Senpai? Where do you see the hope?
Man, hope that
No, the
Akamaru
deep
bricks
sides.
really hard.
Hey.
Hope all of his cards are blank. You know.
That's the way to put it. Wow, we feel very strongly. We feel very strongly about this matchup. Talk to me a little bit. Okay, so the interesting statistic for this particular week in the round robin is that Praetorian, Lanathel, and later we'll see Essia, all three of them brought Swordcraft decks. All three of them are banned. I guess speaking in particular for this Lanathel match, do you think that Swordcraft deck was a good ban for Akamaru Red given the deck situation now? Is that actually the choice you would have made if you were Akamaru against Lanathel?
I don't ban
it's a
sword
tough
ever
one.
because I'm not afraid of swords. So I don't know. It's so strange to me to see all of the sword decks getting banned, even the random ones with like Hero of Antiquity and whatever. It's just like, you know what? I don't know that quantity. I think that was the actual reason. I don't know what that deck does. I don't want to fight it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. it's the old. We need the old Shadowverse Open shrug. That should be our first emote if we ever get a. Just I don't know. Lethal? I don't know. Who wins? I don't know. Hey, I want to take some time to kind of for people who aren't as familiar with Shadowverse or card games to talk a little bit about what is a curve. We've used the term a little bit on the show. Let's talk about what a curve is. What is a good curve? What is a bad curve? And why do we care about curves? Exodium, if you could help us learn.
Yeah, sure. So the basics of a curve is realistically just, do I have a play for turn 1? Do I have a play for turn 2? Do I have a play for turn 3? And then the second aspect of it is proactive versus reactive. If you're on the play, you're the proactive player playing the aggressive versions of those cost cards,
And on
right?
the play means you get the first turn, right?
Exactly. You get the first turn, you get to play your cards first, and generally speaking, you want to be going ahead and presenting more advantage turn after turn after turn. If you're on the draw, you can have the same type of curve, but it can be more reactive, as in the zombie parties, the cards that deal with your opponent's 2-drops on turn 2. So you want to have a kind of good mix of those cards in your deck, whether you're on the play or the draw, so that you have options throughout the game, and that's why you see the mulligan choices that you do.
Well, there you have it. That's the curve for you. And there's also, of course, a lot of intricacy to that, depending on the kinds of deck you're playing.
We could talk for hours about the curve.
The curve.
We could.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Akamaru Red seems favored in this matchup, and we're about to jump in. Guys, take it away. Lanathel versus Akamaru.
Well, we got Shadow versus Shadow. And
They were like, let's get this out of the way right now. Let's just get it out of the way.
Yeah, they were just like, okay, you know what? Let's just do away with this matchup because. But what we see here is both players, as we were just referring to, curves. Both players have somewhat of a curve. I would say Akamaru's is slightly better, but yeah, just slightly better.
Slightly. Honestly speaking, the way Mid Shadow works, Lanathel has a perfect hand. He's got the Lurching Corpse on turn 2 into a Demon Eater and a Soul Conversion on turn 3 if he wants to just draw a whole crapload of cards. Akamaru Red's got more of I want to do the same type of a plan, but he doesn't have that engine that we've been talking about in previous weeks with Mid Shadow. He doesn't have any of his Demon Eaters, doesn't have any of his Soul Conversions, so his curve might be a little more robust, but Lanathel has a lot more options to draw into.
That's fair. I think that and there's that Mordecai. But as I was
it's
gonna
the
say,
random one of, I believe.
Yeah, that Mordecai. I will say that Akamaru could kind of go very heavy on the hope that Prince Catacomb works plan, because I mean, obviously he doesn't have really anything else he can do. But in the event that he does land that Prince Catacomb, he's going to be at a very massive advantage in this matchup.
Mm-hmm. Because essentially Lanathel, in order to combo, has to give up his board position. And if he gives up his board position too much and that Prince Catacomb gets value, he's just going to get really behind on board for the mid-game, which is a very important time for Shadow vs. Shadow because of Ektar battles.
So, Lonatho, they're drawing his own Prince Catacomb. So this could turn out to be okay, for him.
Yeah. Very important next couple turns. I think Akamara Red's going to do the safe play and just clear board. I think he's going to go Zombie Party and Lyrial trade.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine him trying to present more of a board, especially going into a turn with... Oh, never mind.
And he's not doing any of what... Yeah. He's not doing any of what you just said.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care if you have a board, which is... It's going to set Lonatho up for a good Orthrus. It's going to set him up for a good Prince Catacomb, whatever he wants to do here. High roll?
Right.
Not so high roll.
Nope. Those dice rolls are not with him on that one. But, I mean, you may as well go face, right?
Yeah, the Lyrial's not going to get really any advantage by staying in play here, so no reason to trade.
Now, he does have access to Prince Catacomb line if he wants it.
hiding inside.
Yeah, and I think he's just gonna Evo Prince Catacomb, clear board, just do the regular stuff.
I love the
He's like, you know what, I let you keep a board one turn, that was a mistake, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, not only that, but the animation on Prince Catacomb, pretty sweet. Especially the Evo.
Pretty sweet. If you guys don't know Aya very well yet, he loves his animated cards, let me tell you.
I do love my
You'll be hearing about
cards.
those quite a bit.
Yeah, I love my animated card.
Alright, so Prince into Soul Conversion, I can't imagine that's not the line here. And then Evo into the little tiny skeleton, just for trades.
He might opt not to do that. He might just opt to just pass, which, I mean, I think that there's... Yeah, okay. I think that there's some merit. I don't think he felt as if, I'm going to take too much damage.
Yeah, it's not dire this turn to remove the 1/1. It's just, in my mind, the way I like to play Shadow is I don't like to let my opponent get too far ahead, because every single time you don't Evo into something and they get one extra advantage out of that, it might be one extra that you just can't deal with over the course of your next couple turns.
Yeah, but sometimes, as players, we're going to take those risks, and they may pay off, they may not. But we don't really know until we do them.
That's true.
So,
and honestly, this is the type of turn that I'm talking about. So without using the Evo to clear off one of the followers this turn, now he's looking at a turn that he's going to have a really hard time coming back into. Like, he's just not going to be able to deal with all of these threats at the same time. Unless, of course, he top decks. Okay.
Well, that was a good
That's fun. I was waiting for it.
Yeah. That was a good... It's like you segued into that, pretty well. Unless he draws a card.
I always hope for it. That's Breath on 6. That's what you always hope for.
Yeah, that was Zombie Party. Yeah.
That was Zombie Party, so it did allow him to come back a little bit. It gave him a removal spell, which is great.
Yeah. So Lyrial, when it evolves, pings, deals 1 damage to an enemy. That enemy could be your opponent's face, as they are always the enemy. But
enemy number 1, baby.
Yep, that's right. So, all right.
And we're seeing some weird cards in these Shadow decks, like random Mordecai, random Rabbit Necromancer. We've got Ephemera and other Shadow decks. Like we're seeing a lot of diversity here.
Well, I mean, I think that going off the beaten path is kind of overrated sometimes. You just kind of like, oh, I'm going to do something else, and then you play Ektar, and then you didn't do anything new at all.
Right. It's true. He still got the initial burst in. Like the way that these matches play out generally when you're playing like mirror match mid Shadow decks. If you get a lot of damage in early, it means that you have a lot easier time finishing off, which means that your opponent has to make a lot of choices that aren't so optimal so that they can keep the board clear. Because Ektar is essentially always lethal at this point if there's anything left in play, so you just always have to play super careful.
One of the things about fighting against this deck, or really fighting against Shadow, or rather Ektar, sorry. One of the things about fighting Ektar is that You know, he makes a big board, then you clear it, then he makes another big board when you play another one, and then you're like, but I just cleared the board.
Yeah,
and
stop.
It doesn't matter.
Stop it.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Going with the super defensive line here, which I like.
I think he has to at this point. Like, I don't think he can not.
It's also pseudo-offensive because of the whites. By soul converting the Thane, he gets an extra 2 damage in. If this ward dies, gets an extra 2 damage in.
I like how, like, I don't ever remember seeing, like, White King as a thing. I mean, of course, I started playing the game a little later, but, like, I don't ever remember seeing people who play White King, and then, you know, once Immortal Thing came out, like, people immediately knew that card was, like, good, you know? And, now it's
wow.
Oh my goodness.
Another one.
Oh my goodness. Ugh.
Now, I'm trying to think, is there any way for him to actually win this turn? So, he's got 8 damage total that he can do this turn, so not enough to just outright kill. And this Ektar on the opposing side of the board. I'm just trying to think, is there any way that he can...
No, I don't think so. I don't think he can win this turn. I think he has to go for board clearing.
Well, yeah, he has to go for board clearing. I'm just seeing if he has enough even to do that. I guess with the Orthrus he does. He can go, well, no, because then he can't play the actual Mimi.
Well, you mean Cerberus, but yeah. But he wouldn't be able to play
serve
the
into Mimi, yeah.
Right, he wouldn't be able to do that.
So I think this is actually this game. This Ektar is just enough to win him the game here. That's it.
Yeah. This
good old Ektar.
Be taken.
This head can't be taken.
Phantom Howl would have been lethal too, just for good measure, so.
Yeah. You know, like... yeah, Lonafel did the... Oh, okay. You know?
Fine. Fine.
Okay, at least we don't have to play this matchup anymore.
I tried to avoid this matchup like the plague, man. I hate playing mid-shadow mirrors because they're really just about who draws better. Honestly, like, I don't like that type of feel. Like, I probably, being Lonafel, would have queued my Havencraft deck into this matchup first. Although, that could be kind of scary, right? Because if Vengeance Blood gets queued first, then you have a bad matchup that way, so... I don't know, I guess it's a gamble either way.
I would think in a format like this that, you know, since they can see their opponent's decks, this and other, they're going to pick the matchup, or they're going to pick the deck that they believe is going to, you know, present to them the best matchup. And, you know, so.
Either way, so now we've got... Vengeance Blood and Aegis Haven are the outside decks here. So I want to see how these perform against Mid-Shadow and against each other. I want to see if Haven, if the Haven versus Blood matchup actually does take place, who's going to take that one? Because it's always been on Vengeance Blood side, in my opinion. But with certain tech cards in Aegis Haven, maybe it could push it over. Who knows?
Well, usually, even with certain tech cards, I have a hard time in that matchup as Haven. Very hard time. Dark Air Jammer is just so hard to deal with. Like,
yeah.
And
like all of their followers having 4 toughness, like once you get past the 4 play point arena, it's really tough to just deal with. Like Priest of the Cudgel's not optimal. Things like that. Like what you normally would do against an aggressive deck.
Yep. Now he opted to play the Blood Wolf here instead of the Urius. I'm not sure I agree with that. Me personally, against Shadow, I'd want Urius out pretty much as quickly as I could.
It deals about the same amount of damage because you know they're going to play followers. They have to.
Right. Which is why I feel like you're missing out on damage, actually, by not playing it on 2.
For now.
Now, it does give him the opportunity to trade if he wanted to. Like, perhaps maybe there was a 2-drop like a Unica that he'd want to trade with, so it does give him a different opportunity to do something. And this does kind of allow for more damage. I think this sequence is fine. The Blood Wolf into the Urius is just as good. If not slightly better.
Okay.
It's a slight thing. I think it got him 1 more damage overall this way, that's all.
That's fair. Oh, wow.
Going straight for
2
it.
Urius. he's got 2 Urias in hand, like, so he could ping for quite a bit of damage, but this is actually one of the big problems when you are playing Vengeance Blood, is that you are opening yourself up to, like, not even a surprise Phantom Howl lethal. Like, I say not even a surprise because it's like, kind of know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Phantom Howl's super scary. Yeah. The funny thing is, though, if he gets all these Uriases down when he's afraid of dying to Phantom Howl, he could just put his opponent into an opportunity where he can't play Phantom Howl. Urias is just like, nope. Not having it. Look at all this damage.
This Yuri, yeah, so much damage.
I want to see double Urias next turn. I just want to see him go for it. Just get all the Uriases in play. Let's have some fun. He's probably not going to do that, but...
No, he totally should do that. Totally should do that.
Yeah,
okay,
easy dark air. Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, come on, man. Have some guts.
Some guts.
Have some guts. You know? Come on.
Play on the edge, bro. Let's go.
Come on. You're not afraid.
So I actually, like, he wants to play, I know he really, really, really wants to play the Soul Squasher to clear more board, but, like, using those shadows when you have the Phantom Howl in your hand just feels so bad.
It does.
Yep, he's gonna do it, though. It's like, I gotta do it.
Yeah, at least he'll be a good bit of this. Just bad, man.
So let's see, what kind of damage does Akamaru Red have access to? He's got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, that's exactly what his opponent's at, so...
That was a fun game.
That was a fun game. Let's see if he sees it.
Yeah. He's got it. Yeah.
Just like that.
Man.
Monothel Shadow deck keeps drawing that board.
Away from the screen.
Yep.
He looked away from the screen. He's like, I can't see this.
Nope, I don't want to look. Not okay.
2-0 Akamaru Red. I'm actually a little... He should have played the Uriases.
He should have.
He should have played the Uriases. I mean, what would happen, right? I guess you zombie party, so you only get 2 pings. But then, I just want to... There are little things that are more satisfying to me than Whites, Uriases, and Vanias. Just because it takes so long for that effective...
Ping! Yes,
yeah, we're creating more and more memes every day on the Shadowverse Open. Hey, let's take a look at the schedule and see how our tournament is progressing. We've gotten through quite a few matches, 3 matches today. Lanathel versus Akamaru Red just finishing up, and Akamaru Red will put himself up 3-0, continuing the charge towards the top spot in the round robin. We have Essia versus Fatina coming up, Sizoni versus Symphonus, Derzello versus Catch, and Catch versus Sizoni. So those are the matches that we have to look forward to. Of course, lots of very interesting decks heading our way. This next match, Essia versus Fatina. Excuse me, as my throat decides to clog itself up. Swordcraft got banned again. And actually, this deck was pretty interesting. It had a bunch of ambush cards in it. It was really kind of guerrilla sword is what I'm going to call it. Guerrilla warfare sword. But unfortunately, we won't get to see that. I think I'm a little heartbroken because I just want to see what these guys are thinking of. Why would you bring a deck like that? What space does Ambush Sword have in this meta? And why would you be afraid of it? I guess aside from the unknown factor, do you guys have any thoughts about, are there any good matchups for Ambush Sword in the meta? Maybe Aya Senpai first.
Well, Ambush Sword isn't necessarily a deck that has, I guess, I would say, great matchups. It's just capable of just blowing any deck out. Like, it's just, it's just like, okay, look, on 1, on 2, on 3, it plays on curve. It's a very aggressive deck, and it can be really, really hard to beat because your opponent may be running pump effects or, you know, just sit there and do nothing for a really long time, and they just set up lethals over turns. But it is a very aggressive deck, and honestly, it's just hard to beat if they get like the right set of cards, and it's just probably something that people don't want to deal with. I know I don't like dealing with it on ladder, and I know most people who fight against it don't either. So yeah, it can be hard to deal with.
Oh no, I think Exodium is muted. I can't hear him. But hey, that's okay. I'm sure the things that Exodium said were really, really valuable. But
I think we're back now. I think I made a mistake a little earlier, but little boo boo, things happen like that from time to time. That's all right. It's a gambler deck, is all I'm saying. It's a gambler deck.
It's a gambler deck. There you go. Hey, if you like to take some risks, roll the dice, then play Ambush Sword. Or you could play anti-combo deck, and that's quite similar, I feel. But that's always fun. Bat Blood with some Karabos, who we haven't actually seen in a long time. I feel like Karabos is included in these decks. I feel like I've just not seen it played since the round robin started, and maybe even a little bit before then. Mid Shadow, and then on Fatina's side, we've got a Mid Shadow with Tyrant, and then we've got a Havencraft deck, which I feel like this Havencraft deck on Fatina's side was just like, alright, everything Havencraft has to offer, we're going to put Lion, we're going to put Garuda, we're going to put Aegis. Does that work? Is that a thing? Does that work?
It's win condition Haven. We see it all the time. Is it good? Who knows? Trunks.
Win condition Haven. I actually like that. In many ways, I actually felt like, especially in Tempest of the Gods, Mid Shadow was basically win condition Shadow, right? Anything you put in there, whether it was Catacomb, whether it was Cerberus Phantom Howl, whether it was Ector, it was just win condition Shadow. But that being said, let's talk a little bit about Deathly Tyrant. Exo, NV has said that sometimes she believes Deathly Tyrant is more valuable than Ectar itself. How do you feel about this card?
So it's an amazing card when it's amazing, and it's just an okay card every other time. So like there are positions where you're playing these grindy games, which do happen in tournaments more often than on the ladder, as you can see by the way the players play. That you're sitting there with like 25 shadows, it's the end of the game, and you're just like, man, I really wish I had a Deathly Tyrant right now to finish this game out. Like, you get to those positions. But otherwise, it's a 6-play point 3/3 with Storm. It could help you that game, but realistically, like, it takes those grindy games to really shine.
And we'll see if that plays out. But I've just heard word that SCA and Fatina, the match is going to be delayed a little bit. So instead, we're flippy-flopping, and we're going to watch Sizoni vs. Symphonus next. So that means all the stuff that we talked about with these particular decks are out the window.
That's my Conjuring Force dance.
Exodium is somebody gift that, please. Exodium is real excited about that, and if you want to share the GIF at Shadowverse Game, that's where you share that GIF. But I can't. This is I feel like ever since that lethal was missed, my brain is just mush. But there you go. There's a social media there. Sizoni vs. Symphonus. We've got Mid Shadow on Sizoni's side, Bat Blood, which was banned, and then Snowman Daria, which I like that. Snowman Daria, I like calling that deck that. And then over on Symphonus' side, we've got a Vengeance Blood that is banned. And then we've got the Levi Boo, which is the Runecraft deck. And then we've got Haven Aegis. So, who's your boy? I know both of you are probably thinking of the same person, but who's your boy, ISMPI?
I gotta say Sizoni, man. Like, I have to.
We are incredible Sizoni fans on this desk.
We really are. Okay.
I can't help it.
He's got a personality. He's got some showmanship, right? And he's got some really good decks that he fields. But let's talk about as we jump into this game. Tell us a little bit about how these Runecraft decks line up. How will this matchup play out, guys? Take it away.
Mother, father.
Sure. So Runecraft for Shadow really depends on the draw of Master Mage Levi's. If Master Mage Levi's are drawn, this game gets really easy for Dirt Rune. If they're not drawn, it gets a lot harder. Basically, board control or lose. But as we've seen, Aya, I can let you go into that. What has happened every single time we've seen these decks match up against each other?
generally, unless there was a massive misplay, and I mean, it would have to be catastrophic. Okay, we see Dirt Rune win the matchup. So,
Yeah.
I mean, unless again, of course, you get a bad draw, that could happen. That happens to anybody.
Can happen.
You know, but yeah, we generally see Dirt Rune win this matchup.
Realistically, the reason why you see Dirt Rune in a lineup right now is because it has a favorable matchup against Shadow, which you know almost everyone, if not everyone, is bringing. So,
Right.
it's a feel-good deck into this format.
Yep. So, playing the Dwarf Alchemist, what that does is it has a fanfare effect that it will add a Earth Essence to your hand. These are incredibly valuable to your game plan as Dirt Rune because a lot of your some of your spells and effects will require sigils to become better. And then the Dwarf Alchemist also has an evolve effect that when you evolve it, it will add one random card with Earthright and its card text to your hand. So it can help you fish for those Master Mage levies because, of course, we know that Master Mage levy has Earthright, or it could even fish for cards such as Calamitous Curse, or I'm forgetting one. Give me, or actually, can fish for.
There's a ton of cards they can grab and get. Halo Golem, it can get a ton of stuff. It can even get Magic Illusionist, which never feels good, but. Usually, what you want one of your more high play point cards to come out of that. So,
yeah. Oh, I remember Professor of Taboos. Haha. So
yes, Professor.
There you go.
All right. So to get into the game here a little bit, Suzzoni is just like, you know what? I know that you can stop me if I let this game go too long. So I'm literally just going to push as hard as I possibly can. And he has the Phantom Howl to finish off. So I feel like that is the appropriate line of play to take.
Suzzoni, that's the. You know what that was? That was the please let this work.
Right. That's the please. I don't have anything left. I don't have a good turn. Please don't clear my board.
He's not even looking at the screen, dude.
He's not. Like, he's already got his head in his hands.
He's like, please let this work. Oh, it didn't.
No, and this is the turning point in the game right here. Suzzoni still has a chance here. He's not dead in the water, especially now that he drew that Prince Catacomb. That'll give him some staying power against something like a Master Mage Levi.
But it's out of Evos now, so.
Out of Evos, but there's not really a good way for Symphonist to do anything about this. So the reason why you call this deck Dirt Rune is because it operates with Earth Sigils and Earthright. It's just an affectionate name for it. As we see, there are no Earth Sigils to use for any of the Earthright effects that Symphonist has, like the Master Mage Levi, the Halo Golem, or anything like that. So this might just be a Wizardess turn into like...
He can't... There's no way he can play... Can he? No, I don't think he can play that Mutagenic Bolt. There's no way.
No. Mutagenic Bolt is certain doom. Certain doom.
Yeah. Like, guaranteed dead.
I think I would have gone with the Wizardess play here just because it a little bit more tempo. I guess he didn't want to get rid of the Mutagenic Bolt in the dance. I don't know if they're really going to come into play this game at all.
No, I don't think so.
I wouldn't have cared about discarding them, but yeah. Just flood board. If his opponent deals with it, he has Phantom Howl. Which isn't technically lethal. Play the Lyriel. Play it. Come on. Get there. Let's go.
Come on, Suzzoni. You know this one, man. Oh, he didn't play it.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter either way, but all he needs to do is get 1 damage in this next turn, and then he has a chance to win this game.
Suzzoni is he's doing the prayer dance. I don't know, like, he's just... he's doing something over there, man. He's just like, please don't have it. Like,
and he was on the play with about as an aggressive draw as you can get with Symphonist not having great answers, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna win this game. I don't think there's any way to come out from behind this. I definitely don't like the Saktar play.
Well, he just got rid of... Well, I don't know. He's putting him... down. There's really no way that.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, there's no way for him to clear this board and not get shadows back for the Phantom Hell anyway. So
Yeah, so it's like I think he's. Yeah, it's fine. I don't even know why you're praying, Sazoni. You know.
yeah, you know this game is over now. You've got the Phantom Howl. He can't even clear the board. Can't mutagenic bolt.
Well, he can mutagenic bolt for like the viewership. There you go.
There he goes. There you go.
There you go. And he played the other one. He turned the rats into rats. Yes. Yes.
So just like in any card game, you might have a favorable matchup, but that doesn't mean you're going to win the match. As we saw, Sazoni was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw all my cups into this one aggro basket, and it paid off.
Yep.
As we've seen, like, so a lot of our talk about the European side when we were in the open stage of play was, do these players really know what they're doing as far as like when to switch to an aggressive mindset, when to switch to a control mindset? Sazoni has shown over the course of weeks and weeks and weeks that he knows exactly when to turn that corner and just doesn't relent. Like, he doesn't stop once he decides what he wants to do, and I think that's a really big asset that he has.
For sure. He's been riding that wave for a bit. And, I mean, he's so happy he won that game, he had to leave.
Yeah, he's like, take a victory lap.
Okay. It doesn't necessarily keep out Symphonist, though. Symphonist can still come back and win this, but, I mean, we're about to see it. We're about to see it, man. We're about to see it.
All right, Rune v. Rune, here we go. Here's the matchup.
I guess you're looking for a fight.
Now, this is all draw dependent. This is all draw dependent. This is whoever gets a better curve and whoever can manipulate the board better over the course of the game.
Yep.
So we're not going to be able to tell you who's winning this game for a while.
No, but Symphonist has got a pretty, you know, it's got not an amazing hand, but it's not terrible. He does have, you know, Levy on 2, so he can play as a tempo play, but, I mean, it's not, again, not... Oh, that's much better.
Much better, yeah. But Sazoni's got a great filter hand. He had the insight, he's got a Kaleidoscopic Glow for this turn to keep drawing cards and spell boosting. And one of the pivotal turns that's going to happen in this game is when that Rhyme Wind is used. And Rhyme Wind is kind of an obscure card. It bounces a unit based on toughness for how many times it's been spell boosted throughout the game, starting at 1. And once it does that, it puts the same number of the toughness number that it had on it of 1/1s into play as snowmen. So if he can do that on a turn where there's no Master Mage Levi to clear the board, that's when he can play the Conjuring Force and then start pushing damage. And Conjuring Force is the amulet that +1/+0s all your guys whenever you play a spell after it's in play.
Yep. Now, we just saw that Symphonist decided to crack his sigil and play the Halo Golem.
You're done for.
I guess that's fine. He did get to do some face damage. I mean, he did leave himself very wide open to this Levy.
Very open.
Yeah. And he has no sigils.
Yeah, with the spells that I see in Sazoni's hand, this is actually, I think, favored towards him at the moment, just because he has a ton of removal, and he's got endgame options in the Enchanted Sword. So if he does draw Blade Mage, or if these Rhyme Wind tokens do happen to live, he's going to have a very good turn afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but yeah,
I was going to say, Symphonist, he's got, you know, he has a Levy. He can also, he can get a Sigil up as well. He has a Dwarf Alchemist in hand, so he can play that. And that will allow him to get a Sigil in hand, so he will be able to set it up.
He won't be able to actually clear with Master Mage Levi this coming turn, though, so this might be the turn that Sazoni pops the trigger on the Rhyme Wind. Because there's not really a better play for him to make here. He could play the Conjuring Force just to get it in play. That would be a fine play, but then he would take 6 damage. That's super scary.
I don't think you really want to be taking damage against Burn.
No.
Just so for the people who may not know, Time Worn Mage Levy, which is yet another one of the most hated cards in the game. It is a 2-play point 2/2 that when it evolves, it adds a Crimson Sorcery to your hand, and the Crimson Sorcery is a 1-play point spell that does 3 damage to a target.
Yep, very solid card. basically, if you're playing Rune, you're probably playing that card. Unless you have a really good excuse not to. Yeah, in triplicate. Yeah, it's very good. You see Lyriel in tons of decks. This is Lyriel on steroids.
Yeah. Well, opting to do nothing after that.
Interesting. Okay. Putting the Levi out for food, probably to play into a Wizardess turn, just trying to empty the hand out.
I'm all tuckered out.
Zizoni really not giving Symphonus any room to work with. Not playing out anything to be evoed into. Nothing.
I mean, I don't disagree with it. The thing is,
Nothing
he doesn't feel.
Ooh.
He doesn't feel like he's in a position, or at least he didn't feel like he was in a position where he could just win. So, yeah.
I want to see Conjuring Force come into play this turn, and I want to see Blade Mage shenanigans happen right now. Let's go. Because those Enchanted Swords are already down super low. He could basically just slap down... Okay. This works too. This will play right into Master Mage Levi though, so you won't get any advantage out of this turn. But it does spell boost the Blade Mage one more time.
Yeah.
And he could set up a turn where he just plays Conjuring Force, Blade Mage, and his entire hand to win in one turn, which is what he's looking to do.
Well, ooh, that was a good draw. That was a great draw.
Is that lethal? No, he's got to wait one turn for the lethal.
I was gonna say, no, that's not lethal. And
if there was a sigil, that would have been lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one Conjuring Force turn gave Symphonus an extra turn to win, but he didn't grab the wins, so Sizoni's gonna just OTK him next turn.
Yep. Symphonus is like, please don't have it, please don't have it. Unfortunately, he does.
He's got plenty of it.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna feel so bad.
Why these European players are still not banning out Conjuring Force Rune? Like, I don't know why. They keep losing to it. They keep not banning it.
They just, hey man, they just like, we don't even care, bro. And
Zoni's taking this one, the clean sweep.
He did the wave! He did the wave!
Yeah.
Oh man, Sizoni. Oh man.
13 damage off of Blade Mage. And the Conjuring Force, we finally got to see it played. The Snowman Daria with the Conjuring Force. Yeah, Enchanted Sword, and that Blade Mage was real cool. That guy, he was buff. Sizoni with a 2-0 win, and I feel like this guy's unstoppable. How do you beat him? The last time he lost was in the open bracket stages, I'm pretty sure, right? I guess he's lost games, but he's never lost really a match in the longest time. Let's take a look at the schedule and see how things are panning out, especially since we kind of skipped over the fourth match there. We're going to go back and watch that match, so we're not missing a thing. Sizoni versus Symphonus is going to end 2-0 in Sizoni's favor. Essia and Fatina is up on deck next. And then we've got Drizella versus Catch, and then Catch versus Sizoni again. So this could be Sizoni's opportunity to kind of really propel himself forward in this round robin and kind of match Akamaru Red. I believe they are in different groups though, so they won't really be bashing heads against each other until the playoff stages. But talking about that game, Snow Daria, just ban it has been your guys' advice.
Just ban it.
Possibly, is there anything in your minds that would justify not banning it? What do you think Symphonus was planning for? What do you think a player like Catch later on will be planning for when he invariably does not ban Rune?
Honestly, you can't plan for it. It's a deck just like D-Shift. It does what it does, and you just kind of have to take it. The thing is, I think these players really think that it's just too wishy-washy of a deck, so they don't mind playing against it because they're like, whatever, it can't really do things. But every time we've seen it, it does plenty of things. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I can't answer that question in good conscience or good faith and give you a real answer.
So really, the answer is SOS, the Shadowverse Open shrug. SOS, save our souls. All right, guys. Just a few reminders here. Join the Shadowverse Open Discord, and you can talk to fine individuals such as Aya Senpai and Exodium, as well as myself, even though I'm quite useless. You'll also be able to talk to some of the competitors and maybe find some matches there or get some advice. And there's a lot of people just kind of discussing the game there. Also, make sure you download the game. If you're new to Shadowverse, it's a fantastic game. Down in the panels, you can find the link to download. And make sure you give the channel a follow if you enjoy competitive Shadowverse, if you enjoy tournaments, if you enjoy the red dragon shirts that Aya Senpai likes to wear, or the hats that these fine gentlemen don, then give the channel a follow. So, lots of exciting stuff, but we are about to head to break, and when we come back, we've got Essia versus Fatina, and then the rest of the Group B matches for the day to look forward to. So, we will see you guys in just a bit. break, we just had to collect ourselves. There was a lot of energy and emotion coming from the players. I actually love it. I love that they're gonna demonstrating personality. I like that. Zizoni, of course, we know is quite active, but I am Rainy. That is the Pickens, and that's Carter. That's what I'm running with today.
The Carter, okay.
The Carter. Sorry. Apologies. Apologies, Mr. The Carter. Is that Mr. The Carter? I don't know if that's excessive, but hey, we've got a few matches here for you today. We are going back to Essia versus Fatina. So that is the match that we missed just a little bit earlier in the day, but they will be playing now. So we talked a little bit about those decks already, but just as a reminder, Essia will be running Bat Blood and Mid Shadow, and then Fatina on the other side will be running Mid Shadow and Lion, Haven, Garuda, Aegis thing. I think I got that right.
Yeah. That's good.
Hey, talk to me a little bit about. We talk about certain crafts, right? Quite a bit on this broadcast. Shadowverse has 7 different crafts. Let's talk specifically about some that we'll see in this particular match. What is unique about Bloodcraft? What is unique about Shadowcraft? And what is unique about Havencraft, Exodium?
Yeah, so quickly, Haven is basically just a random hodgepodge of amulets, good defensive options, and then win conditions in several different archetypes. You can go with Amulet, Countdown, win with Seraph. You can go with Aegis, just big guy that can't die. You can go with, the tempo, just amulets and flood the board, that kind of thing. Shadow is basically just value-based. It can either be super aggressive with value, it can be mid-rangey with value, or it can be like mid-rangey / control with value, like just a lot of card draw, a lot of board presence, a lot of just, you can't deal with all my stuff. And then Blood can go any direction under the sun. It can be the most aggressive deck in the game, it can be the most defensive deck in the game, it could be mid-rangey, it could be aggro mid-range, it could be mid-range control, it can do whatever it wants to. So Blood is super flexible, but generally you see it in the more aggressive fashion.
So Aya Senpai, if you were to ascribe kind of a short description of a player type that would enjoy either of these crafts, what would you do for Blood, Shadow, and Haven? How would you describe the players that love playing those crafts?
So if I would say for Blood, more aggressive. I think people who are getting into the game should probably go just a little bit more aggressive with it, because aggro Blood is a really easy deck to learn. Haven, Haven's not so easy. It's
Haven's for
it's not
masochists.
so easy.
For that's the description. That is the description. Masochists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what about for Shadow?
For Shadow, Mid Shadow, obviously. It's the most powerful deck in the game, and it's not incredibly difficult to learn. So, yeah, Mid Shadow.
All right. Well, there you have it. Mid Shadow is definitely what you want to pick if you want a good, comfortable entrance into the game. If you're an aggressive type player, pick Blood. And if you are a masochist, pick Havencraft.
Yes.
Seriously speaking, though, I think Havencraft is more for kind of defensive-oriented players who like to, play at a slightly slower pace. But Essia versus Fatina, we're going to be seeing these 3 crafts. Let's see if they hold true. If they play aggressive on Blood, if they play mid-shadow, which they obviously are, and if the Havencraft deck ends up being slower. So, who do you guys think will take it? Who do you guys think will win? It looks like Fatina is getting ready to go. What are your guys' predictions? Take it away.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Last week Fatina didn't necessarily have such a great showing, but he was also not playing what we would call meta decks. He was playing all combo lineup last week. So this time he decided to, pack some real heat. So I think I'm gonna go with him for this one. I'm gonna go with him.
Okay. And I will honestly go the opposite this time with Essia. The only reason I say that is because honestly that Haven deck looks like it's a crapshoot deck. Like, if he gets a really good draw, he could win. Most likely, I don't think that it's going to draw very well from looking at it. But I don't know. Fatina's second deck, that Haven deck, is too much of a crapshoot deck for me to side with it.
Well, I'm siding with Fatina because Fatina loves dice rolls. So
that's fair.
He loves them. So
that's why he's playing Deathly Tyrant and Mid Shadow.
Yeah.
He's like, that situation is going to come up often enough to where I think I want to play it. And it definitely could in this matchup. We definitely see these matchups, these mid-range Shadow decks playing against each other going super late. And definitely Tyrant can shine. You don't necessarily want it in your opening hand, but at least you know it's available.
Right. So we see Fatina, he's probably going to hit face and then Demon Eater. I'm pretty sure he's going to Demon Eater. You don't Soul Conversion, right? You just go Demon Eater?
I think you Soul Conversion so you can Zombie Party, and that's the only reason.
Oh, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. And yeah, we're just going to see basically the same match that we've seen several times already, just a bunch of 2-drops running into each other, maybe some value with some cards drawn with some Demon Eaters and Soul Conversions into some Ektar turns, which both players have access to all of those things. The only thing out of the ordinary, of course, is that Deathly Tyrant just sitting over there on the side of Fatina right now. A little spice.
Well, now, this brings up a very interesting question, and I'm very interested to know your answer to the question. Mm-hmm. The question is, if you know that everybody and their mother, their father, their brother, their cousins, their extended family, the third, whatever, is going to bring Shadow, why not ban it?
So my thing is, if I was playing in this tournament, if this was like, if I was in the top 12 right now and I was playing in this thing, I would bring an anti-Shadow lineup and never ban it. Because it's a deck that I know everyone is bringing, I would just bring 3 decks that beat it, and then just run the tables, essentially. So with them not doing that and still not banning Shadow, I think it's because they know how to play against Shadow. They played against it enough to know that, yes, it could beat them, but at least I know what I'm doing in the match. Where they're banning decks that they just don't know how to handle, like the random sword decks, or, the dragon decks that, can always possibly win a game, like that kind of stuff. And they're just letting Shadow, because it's a known quantity, they know what to do in that matchup, and that's really it.
Okay. So, Essia deciding to evolve with this, it's going to go ahead and go face with the Soul Squatcher. So,
yeah, just setting up a good Prince turn.
Now, what is in Fatina's hand? Fatina has an Erd. Certainly, he's not going to play that. He has a Serb.
No.
So he could
definitely not
play
playing
that.
Erd this turn.
Hey, man, he could be crazy. He could just be like, hey, you know what? I want you to have more board. Here you go.
Okay, this is not a bad turn. It does get rid of the Soul Squasher.
I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Side Games for their animated cards. That's right. I did it. I did it. I did it.
Shout out. Let's go. Animation. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I mean, he has an animated non-wallet Serb in his hand. Okay, so
that's true. That's pretty hype.
It's hype. It's great.
And that is, I think, one of the first non-animated Serbs I've seen in a while.
Want to play?
Yeah.
Serb usually comes in the animated variety.
Yeah. I'm using the one in the deck, the one that comes in the starter deck. That you guys can get in Shadowverse. That's right.
That's right. Starter decks, very good value, by the way. Give you a ton of cards at great price. Plus, you get alternate art animated cards.
Yes.
So good.
That's the reason to get them, okay?
I've already purchased all the new ones that just came out. I love me some my new animated Sybil's. I got, my animated Alberts. All good.
That's what's up, man. All right.
So Fatina's thinking here, like, basically just the natural grind. I want to empty my opponent's board. I want to fill my board. Like, basically, that's all Shadow's trying to do against each other is present Ektar on turn 7, and then see if your opponent can do the same.
All right, so Essia, he had a bit of a dominating board position. Doesn't necessarily have one right now. I do want to point out that we're seeing a bit more Rabbit Necromancer than we've been seeing in the past.
It's true. As the other 3-drop on top of Bone Chimera, instead of a Tenant of Night, instead of Grimnir, instead of any of the other things that we've seen in the past. You're right. We've seen Rabbit Necromancer a little bit more. Wait, is that a Minth in Fatina's hand also?
That is a Minth!
So he's got a full combo with Deathly Tyrant. He doesn't even need the shadows.
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
So to explain what Minth is, for those who don't know, Minth makes it where your necromancy costs are all 0. So the combination is playing Minth into Deathly Tyrant on like a late turn, like turn 10. Well, obviously, because you had 10 play points, because the whole thing costs 10 play points. And the Necromancy cost of Deathly Tyrant won't, it doesn't matter because it's 0, because Minth makes it 0. So Deathly Tyrant will come out as a 13/13 and a lot.
And just bash the face. Otherwise, it takes 20 shadows, which is a pretty staggering number.
Yeah, this man's running Minth. And Fatina he's taking a sigh of, he's sighing for some reason. Like, I mean...
I think he was just really hoping he didn't see a Death's Breath, and he didn't. So he was happy about that.
Fair enough.
This head can't be taken.
Right.
Now, playing the first Ektar in this matchup isn't always the best idea, because your opponent can just answer with an Ektar and then just beat your board. And there's not really a good follow-up that Fatina has if he does answer back with one.
Now, not to mention that Fatina did just take 2 damage. Okay, and the reason he took 2 damage because Rabbit Necromancer's effect is that when it dies, it does 2 damage to the enemy leader. So, yeah. You gotta be careful. Sometimes, people forget that and then they kill themselves. So
actually, I didn't even count the shadows. So Demon Lord Ektar as a response isn't even that good because he's not going to get the 3 followers necessary to actually clean the board up.
Yeah.
So this is just going to be killing opposing Ektar.
Yeah. I was going to say, yes, it's both of the zombies to kill the Ektar, which is not necessarily bad, but it's not great.
Okay.
Yeah, this I feel like really puts Fatina, regardless of these crazy cards in his hand, in a huge advantage. If you see, he still has an evolution orb ready, and Essia is just kind of like out of steam. He's got these Orthrus like Prince Catacomb draw with Phantom Howl. Like he has a good way to end the game technically. Like he technically has 9 damage sitting in his hand, but getting those other 3 damage across is going to be pretty tough.
Yep. And now Fatina has built an even bigger board. So for those who don't know, Attendant of Night, when it dies, it will summon a Lich. So with a common combination of plays is to play something that will kill it, and then it will get the Lich, or force your opponent to have to trade into it so you get the Lich. So what Fatina did was he played Erd on his Attendant of Night. Erd will kill the follower and then bring it back. So not only will he get the effect of the Attendant of Night for getting the Lich, but he'll also get back his Attendant of Night.
Yep. Just a nice little tempo play.
Uh-oh.
So this is getting the Minth Tyrant turn. This is going to be won by Minth Tyrant. And it's going to happen next turn. This is so awesome.
It is pretty sweet. Because you never see this! Okay?
You never see this. I love it.
Now,
I love it.
If for some reason, I will say this, if for some reason 2 damage... oh wait, never mind. He can't do that anymore. Never mind.
Oh,
Forgot he played the Mimi last...
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
unless there's a Death's Breath, Fatina's just gonna outright win this game with that combo. That's insanity.
It is insanity.
Like, I didn't know he had Minth in the deck. That's why I thought the Deathly Tyrant, it was just, like, more for the grindy games. Because, as you see, there's not anywhere close to 20 shadows for Fatina's side. So, like, the Deathly Tyrant wouldn't really be that great yet. But because he has the Minth to activate it for free... Good God, man. Good God, man.
Yeah. Well, we're about to see it, man. We're about to see it. Ooh, no. That's not what you want.
To be honest, even without the combo, I don't think Essia could even come back in this game. Like, I mean, he could like try to board clear with like Phantom Howl and Coco, but he just doesn't have anything.
No.
Like no more Ektars, no Death's Breath, like nothing.
I mean, yeah, he's in some doo doo.
Some doo doo.
He's in some doo doo. Fatina is praying right now. He's like, don't have a Death's Breath. Don't have a Death's Breath. Please don't have a Death's Breath. Don't have a Death's Breath.
Honestly, best play for Essia here is I would have started with the Orthrus and then ended with the Phantom Howl to clear. But this will do somewhat similar of a thing.
Oh man,
It just
He's
doesn't
like-
guarantee a kill
It
on
doesn't
that.
guarantee. Yeah. So Fatina with the celebratory, he's like, I get to do Myth Tyrant. Yes.
Yeah, this is insanity. I don't even want to see this. I do, but I don't.
What is going on with this tournament? Like,
Yeah, I know, right? Like people just pulling out all the stops. We've got some people doing the Ephemera Phantom Howl combo. We got some people doing the Mint Deathly Tyrant combo in their Shadow decks just to spice it up a little bit.
yeah. I mean, how do you prep for Myth Tyrant other than take it to the face?
How do you
He's
even
like, yes!
react when you see Mint in the first place? You're just like, oh my god, no, don't. Oh god, no.
And that happened.
See ya!
Yeah, feels bad. All bad.
Feels great if you're the one doing it, though.
Oh yeah, Fatina's probably on cloud 9 right now.
Yeah, it's just like, I put this in my deck just for this reason. We did it, boys.
Don't let your memes be dreams, people.
Now, we're going to see if Fatina's win condition Haven deck has a chance here. He's praying. He's praying the same way I'm praying.
I have faith in you, Fatina. Don't let me down.
Let's go. Let's go. I think Essia can come back, turning it around against this Haven deck, but we're gonna see if this Haven deck has chops. If it gets one of its good draws, it does have 2 games to do it now, so it's in a better position than it would have been if it only had 1 game.
See, I'm concerned right now. You know why I'm concerned?
Yeah, like what do you do with this hand?
No,
It's
that's not
all
why I'm
bad
concerned.
versus aggro bats.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really bad. But the reason I'm concerned is because he's using fried chicken as his leader. I just
Get out of here.
He's using fried chicken as his leader. I'm sorry, man.
Look, Garuda's an okay leader, okay? He's a birdie.
He's not. Come on,
Leave
man.
him alone.
Fried
Leave him
chicken.
alone. Alright? He's just a bird. He's endangered, okay?
It's okay.
He's fine.
Sure.
He's fine.
Fried
So,
chicken.
Fatina also playing interesting cards in his little series. Playing a Uriel. I don't know why you would play Uriel in a deck with Beast Calls and Sacred Pleas and stuff over something like a Prism Priestess. But, you know what? Maybe he just knows what he likes. And he does what he does. He doesn't give a care.
Well, Uriel is on 4, so it does give him a 4 play, and when he's on the play. So, and it also it does kind of fill the same role as a Prison Priestess. Prison Priestess is more so like you play it on 3, and there are things you'd rather be playing on 3, like this Angel of the Word, for instance.
That's true.
The Prison Priestess is not a card you really want to be playing on 3. So it does give him the ability to get cards for his Lion, because we saw that he's playing that too.
I guess that's fair. And it is a neutral card to pump or to Haven spell boost a Lion.
Yep.
And it gives him something to pop for the Lion. Okay. Alright.
See?
No Lion,
No
though.
McClass.
No win condition Lion, though.
No. However, I don't know, like, if he continues this, along this line of his path, I think that he might be okay.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's at 18 against an Agrobats deck going into turn 5. That feels super good.
Yeah,
Super
especially
good.
when they are on the draw and you're on the play.
Back to the
Right.
skies.
Ooh. So, Marchair's tea time is, he's gonna definitely just Evo shoot.
Yeah,
no reason.
He's gonna. I think he might even just go face with it. Yeah, he just wants the pressure. He's got the Garuda next turn. He's got another tea time to follow up. He can go aggressive here.
I don't know. For me, I feel like making the bigger body that I know that because I know that Aggro Blood doesn't have a card that can deal with a 5/6. They would have to use a substantial amount of cards to deal with that if they had them. That would be my reasoning behind it. Like I know, if I'm playing Fatina's deck, I would know that he can't deal with the 5/6. So, but okay.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's just because it's this mindset of I need to be able to close the door as fast as I can while not dying. And that's kind of like always a permeating thought when you're playing against aggro, because the longer you give an aggro deck like Bats a chance, the more times they have to top deck just extra burn damage, extra storm damage, whatever.
I suppose that's fair.
Like here, I think he'll make the super safe play. Oh, wow, no Evo.
Yeah, he didn't Evo at all. Well, actually, you know,
I don't like that.
Essia could have some fried chicken. He could have some fried chicken right now. Could have some fried chicken.
I think this is a super easy play.
Yeah, same. So, like, Fatina not Evoing there, seems a little bit questionable.
Opening so much up.
Yeah. Just a little bit questionable. So let's say you were Fatina. What line would you have taken?
I would have just killed the Bats. When you're playing against aggro Bats, I don't leave them in play for specifically this reason. You got the Vampiric Fortress now, going to do you this extra 4 damage when it could have dealt you literally no damage. And now he even gets an extra bat out of it too, so... you gave a whole bunch of damage when you didn't need to.
Fried chicken, man.
And I don't know what you're saving your Evo point for anyway. It's not like you have a Priest of the Cudgel or an Ancient Lion Spirit in your hand that you need to save it for.
Well, I mean, he does have the March Hare, so he can Evo that, but...
Yeah, but same thing as last turn. He just would have in a better position. He might have actually just outright won. Yeah, this... Come on, man. What are you doing? Oh, you're making me shake here. Fatina. Like, I think he could have actually just outright won last turn had he done the Evo on the Tin Soldier. Because there wouldn't have been any Night Horde to take it out.
He might still win, but, I mean, he really gave up a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, like, he can definitely still win this game. This game's definitely not over. He's got another fried chicken in his hand. And
there you go.
He's got the Tin Soldier still in play. He's got an Angel of the Word. He's got multiple damage sources, so he's not hurting for that. It's just he's giving his opponent a way to win the game, which I don't like.
Okay, this one's all me.
What the heck is going on?
I was about to say, I really hope he doesn't play that Razor Claw.
Oh, there's another win condition.
These chicken wings will end you. That's right.
If he doesn't Evo this turn, I'm gonna flip my table over. Okay.
I don't think he's gonna be that greedy. Come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Tina's pretty much got the game. Yeah, it's over now.
Yeah, it's over now. He had enough stall turns to where it didn't matter. So yeah, the Haven deck it drew the right cards that it needed, and that was that.
Yeah, and a peace sign. He's like, good job, bro.
Peace. Very well played, Fatina.
Good job.
All right. So Fatina takes the win 2-0 over Essia with some very interesting decks. He got the Minth Tyrant combo, and Fatina is a very combo-oriented player as well. And his Havencraft deck made it out okay. Now, I remember you talking about how it's a little bit of a toss-up whether you can find a consistent kind of line of play with that deck. But I think Fatina did just fine, and so he will move up to 1-1 now after kind of disastrously getting beat down last week. Unfortunately, unable to play any of the combos, despite the fact that I think some of his decks were actually great. What do you guys think about Essia and his line of play in that match? Do you think it was kind of a tougher matchup for him just in general? Was it a draw situation? How did that play out for Essia, Exodium?
I think it was really just a lack of options. Like, his draws weren't great, they were just mediocre. It's not like his play was bad. I don't feel like there were any turns where he just openly made a mistake. It was just he didn't have the resources he needed to deal with his opponent, and that was simply it.
All right, well, Essia will fall. Let's take a look at the schedule and see how the scoreline stands for all these competitors so far. 2-0 for Essia. 2-0 for Fatina, or Essia falls 0-2. Of course, earlier in the day we saw Kai vs Sheepy, Kaunis vs Praetorian, Lonathel vs Akamaru Red, and this is Zoni vs Symphonist. So we are jumping into Derzello vs Catch. Derzillo vs. Catch is going to be, I think, quite interesting, because Catch is a player who submitted 2 different deck types against 2 different opponents, and this is one of the benefits of the round robin format, is that each opponent you can prepare for separately. And so in this match versus Derzillo, Catch, interestingly enough, is using the only Forest Craft deck in this week. That's going to be very classically a Roach A-Ring Queen combination of cards there. And then Mid Shadow against Derzillo's Rune deck and Garuda Haven. So, what do you guys think about how this will play out? I know that we have some strong thoughts about Forest Craft, but classic Forest Craft against some of these decks. I mean, it's kind of a combo deck, right? No? You think no? What do you think,
Oh, the
Exodia?
curse is back. Oh, okay. So Forest, I'm looking at the matchup right now. I think that Forest doesn't have a bad time here. I think Forest is going to be fine. I don't think that's going to be the make or break of this. I think it's just going to come down to hard play. Like, both of these decks against both of these decks have random matchups. So it's whoever's going to play better, whoever draws better. That curse is going to die, Aya, okay? that curse is going away, all right? Forest will win a tournament, I guarantee you, okay?
Well, here is its chance to get one step of the way there. Derzillo versus Catch. Catch is going to be leading off with Shadowcraft, and Derzillo is going to be leaning on Garuda Haven, of course without the lion. But take it away, guys. What is the mulligan like for these players, and who is slated to the early advantage?
Well, from what we can tell, Derzillo is... I think he has a pretty decent hand here. Catch, who, is a player that, for those who don't know, I wrote an article on the NGE site, so you can go to shadowverse.nge.io and check that out. I wrote an article about a deck that he played last week. So if you guys are interested, go check that out. But I think that, Catch doesn't necessarily... He doesn't have a terrible hand,
Catch doesn't have a terrible hand, but Derzillo definitely has a better hand. He's got like options for every turn on the curve that just look really good. He's also, this is one of those things that I'd like to point out. Derzillo opted to keep Beast Call Aria on the draw, as opposed to mulling it away. So he made a different decision than we saw last time from a different player.
Now, I will actually explain why he did that. Okay, so the reason that he chose to keep it here was because, like, Beast Call Aria against Shadow on the draw is not as bad as, they say, against Blood or Surf. So you can definitely generate a substantial amount of value against Shadow by playing Beast Call Aria 1-2. It's just, again, one of those things where you keep it based on your matchup.
Right. Yep. That makes sense. And then Catch making this awesome Arthur's play to finish off the Princess Snow White, but Angel of the Word coming down as one of the most popular cards in the game right now alongside Lyriel, just because it does extra damage. Just a way to clear out the board in the early game so that you can kind of protect yourself into the Evo turns.
Prepare yourself.
Now, what we can see is this Beast Call Aria is going to pop next turn. And that could... Well, actually might not be too bad, because Catch does have answers to be able to deal with the big board. But this is a very interesting, situation here. Pretty sure if he's playing the Lyrio, he's going to Evo, shoot face, trade, and then go face with the bird.
Yep. It's a pretty easy turn.
Now, it is, just to let people know, that it is a very disciplined play not to use Black Inscripture at a time that you have the ability to against Shadow. He had a perfect opportunity there to play the Black Inscripture, and for those who don't know, Black Inscripture banishes a follower that has 3 defense or less, in which, while we saw that the follower on board did have 3 defense or less, he opted not to play it because he wants to save it for when he has... for like last words follow.
Right. So specifically things like the Bone Chimera that he did Banish on that turn, because he wants to basically deny shadows, he wants to deny the card draw that Shadow has access to, and basically just slow the game plan down so he can keep pushing.
Yep. Now,
Somebody say tea time?
yeah. This is easy tea time.
Yep, all tea times for a while here, it looks like. That Alice is super awkward draw. This is like kind of the thing that we were talking about earlier with Haven having like these weird draws when they're playing Lions and like, you know, Alices and other things like that. When you draw them at random times, they just don't do anything. Like that Alice is quite literally just a 4-play point 3/4, which is not the most solid thing that you could be doing.
I also want to point out that both Catch and Urzello are from Germany. So,
Yeah.
it's a country kill, man.
That's right. Country kill. That's rough.
That is rough. So, Urzello does have some options here. He has a very interesting line that he could take advantage of should he choose. The line is he could play the March Hare's Tea Time, Evo it, shoot the Thane, and then banish it with Black Inscripture so his opponent doesn't gain any advantage, and then he could trade into the whites.
He's got a lot of different options to pull off that play. He could do it with Angel of the Word.
Yeah, that's true.
Into the Black Inscripture as well. I mean, he's got options here this turn. March Hares does put a bigger body in play, which I like, but since my opponent could have Ektar, actually, because there's only 3 shadows, never mind. There'll be 6 shadows.
I wouldn't be worried about that.
yeah, I guess that's fair.
It's like, oh, you only got 3 shadows. I'm good. You're not playing Ektar.
Yeah. He could have the 6 that would be required to take down both of the Tin Soldiers if we clear board this turn. Then again, with the Banish, only 5 shadows, so yeah, actually, I kind of like that play. I think I would have liked that play the most.
He's not doing that at all. So, fair enough.
Yep, he's probably just going to go face and not Evo then. Yep.
Now, am I wrong?
Not banishing the Thane is kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't know. I think that Thane would have been my top priority because we know just how much of a pain Thane can be, and that was not meant to rhyme the way it did. But
because now he just has an easy option to jam this into the Tin Soldier, play a defensive option while also doing like Prince Catacomb plus board. He could double Prince Catacomb even. I mean, he's got a lot of options this turn because of the allowed Thane. I really like that line. I think just jamming Thane into the Tin Soldier and just dumping a board out with some Prince Catacomb. Very good line here.
Indeed. So, well, he does do the 1 damage for the white remaining. And, okay. Okay.
Really?
This is a very interesting line of play.
Super interesting. Basically giving up his endgame.
Yeah.
Let's play again.
Huh.
No, stop.
I mean, it's not a bad line. He still clears the board. He still has a board left over. Maybe okay. So I guess the idea was he wanted to use the shadow on the Phantom Howl and not waste them on the. What is that called? What that comes out of the Thane? Is that White King?
White King.
Yeah, White King.
White King.
White King. And he didn't want to use the shadows on it. He didn't care about the ward because there's not like any storm followers that he's worried about. So that's an interesting line. It's basically just to conserve shadows and use them where he wanted to.
I mean, I guess,
We're done for.
but like, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so evolving Tin Soldier to go face and trade into the White King that did not get the buff because Catch did not have enough necromancy.
Yeah, now I just don't know how he comes back now. Like he basically gave up his endgame / hard removal on a turn where he didn't need to. Well, that was a perfect draw. Okay.
Yeah, Ektar seems to do that. Urzello was like, "Oh, come on, bro.
Come on.
Come on, man." He threw his hands up a little bit. Okay, that was a decent draw though.
That was a great draw, yeah.
Chicken
That
wings
it doesn't prevent from a turn though. Like there's because of that Ektar, Drizella has no way to win this game now. And he's just going to lose next turn to the Serb.
Yep. I feel so bad for Drizella, man.
Yep. Ektar was the only card that could have done that.
Yep. And as of this card, Ektar. I think
good old best card in the game.
Good old best card in the game. Yeah. Okay.
He didn't see the lethal.
Yeah.
Drizella knows it too. Drizella's like, yep, he didn't see the lethal. Sick money.
He's like, I'm saved. Kind of.
He's got one turn here. He knows it.
He's got one chance. That's not it.
That's not it.
the side. Oh man. Like, yeah. That's not it.
Another miss lethal. No punish this time though.
These golden wings will end you.
Chicken wings, man. For the guys having fried chicken.
Lands of marvels.
He's shaking his head now because he's like, man, my opponent gave me the turn, couldn't capitalize. Feels bad, man.
Yep. You know, even if he had drawn an angel of the word, you know, it's something.
He's like, maybe he doesn't see it again. Maybe he doesn't see onboard lethal. No, definitely sees this one.
Yeah.
Envy you.
Yo, Catch did like, you see Catch's head, he did like a little rock back, like, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, man. I feel so bad for Drizella there. It was like right on the cusp of that. And the thing is, he didn't necessarily play badly, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't really play badly.
There was no, I think maybe just the one Thane turn was bad, but Catch kind of gave that advantage back by using the cards the way he did. He didn't use the White King to get the advantage of the defensive card, which actually would have just pushed him to an easier win. But yeah, beyond that, I think the play was fine.
I guess you're looking for a fight.
All right.
To prove myself.
So, your horse, Forest.
I mean, I'm always going to vote for Forest because Forest is the best. I just want to see Forest win so your curse is broken. Is this like just straight up Daria that Drizella's playing?
Yeah. Actually, he told me today that he was going to be playing Daria. And I was like, nah. Well,
that makes me so sad. Daria is so good versus Forest.
Yeah.
No. Forest.
See, I kind of had that. I had that insider knowledge, you know.
I see. So you cheated me, I guess. I get it. That's fine. If I knew this was the matchup, then yeah. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Daria is a spell boost deck. It's kind of like what we saw with the Conjuring Force deck. The difference is it uses big followers and just tries to flood the board with big followers as opposed to 1/1s, and then refill with Daria and then just do it again and add infinitum like for as many times as it can. The reason why it's really good against Force is because on one of those flood turns, when you play a Daria with a lot of followers, Force doesn't really have a way to clear the board. It doesn't have like a Themis' Decree or, Tin Soldier to like, do a 2-for-1, that kind of stuff. So it has a really hard time dealing with the flood.
Right. That Craig, so that's Clark, my bad. That Clark, though, he might have wanted that last turn. I think this is a great turn for him to play both of these con golems.
Yep. Into the Clark, into the Blade Mage, into a Daria, yep.
Yep.
Now, I'm not going to lie, though. Catch has a pretty strong hand. If he can find a Roach pretty soon here, or maybe 2, he could win this game pretty shortly.
Well, he opts to...
Oh, that's what you hate to see.
Yeah, it's just...
Drawing your spell boost follower before you play the Daria.
Yeah, I had to cancel my statement. So he opts to go face for the damage and not trade it into the Clay Golem. I don't know why I forget that card's name. Anyway.
How do you forget Clay Golem, man? He's so cute. Look at him.
Get out of here.
Opting for almost, full board clear here. Okay, not going aggressive at all. Understanding that he's playing against OTK Roach, wants to mitigate basically all damage he can. Here's the Roach.
He just got a Roach. Yep. He's got, what, 2 Nature's Guidance in him?
He's got 2 Nature's Guidance, so he's still a few turns away from actually, like, performing any kind of lethal. So there's no worry for Drizella for at least a turn or 2 here.
Well,
And again, for those of you who
does
don't know,
Go.
I was just going to say
Sorry.
real quick, the Roach combo is essentially when you have like 2 Roaches and 0-cost cards in your hand, you just play a bunch of cards, and then you play Roach, which is just a 2-play .1/1 that has Storm, but it gets +1/+0 for every card you played before it, and then you bounce it back to your hand with the Nature's Guidance and play it again for just huge amounts of damage. And the more Roaches you can play after a ton of spells that you play before it, the more damage you can deal, and you can go upwards of 20 damage with that combo if the game goes later.
With a bang and a boom.
I don't think he wanted to draw that.
No.
Especially not with that hand.
That's not too bad, though. He's got Double Fate's Hand to look for more options. He's got a Piercing Rune to finish off the Goblin Mage while also being aggressive. Ooh. Those are nice, too.
I think you played
Heyo.
those. I think you played
yeah.
one. And then, you gotta play it.
100%. I think you actually Insight first as well, because you don't need a Crimson Sorcery this turn.
It won't be long.
Sure you
now.
do. You got a Crimson Sorcerer's face.
Face, baby!
Crimson
I got no
Sorcerer's
play points for anything
face.
else.
His face, bro. His face. Do it! Come on,
He
Duzalo.
might consider Crimson... No, okay. He does it just in the wrong order, but that's okay.
I'm so sad.
Run away.
Reason why the
Supposed to
ordering
be
matters there,
face.
just in case there's another Piercing Rune drawn off the top, but not a huge mistake and wasn't punished. So possible damage this turn, he can play 1, 2, 3 spells, 4, bounce, roach, 10, 12. So he can deal 12 damage this turn, which isn't quite enough. So he's got to wait at least one turn, play defensive this turn.
Yeah, Aaron is literally the play.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he wants to defensively use the Roach, but I don't think he wants to do that.
No.
He's got to get rid of this Daria. Oh, Daria. Like, if he wins, off of the back of Daria, that's going to be incredible, man. It's going to be incredible.
I hate Daria right now, because it might be the
Ooh,
worst
and-
thing. What?
He didn't Evo.
That's a very heads up play. You need to save the Evo for the win here. You cannot play to the board at this moment. You have to play for pure combo.
Oh, man. Oh, look at
You're right.
that! Look at that! A Chimera.
This is about the time that he was wishing he was playing Dance of Death instead of Chimera, but still in a very good position.
Don't take away his cool points. I mean, Chimera, bro. Chimera.
So if another Roach is drawn off the top of the deck, there can be a 1, 2, 3 bounce, 5, 6, which is 14, 15, 16. So even a Roach off the top is 1 away from lethal next turn. So he's got to be able to find a way to survive next turn. So maybe another Aaron off the top would be great. Anything defensive.
Whoa, wait, what? Really? Okay.
Stop.
It's knowledge
Sure.
I seek.
It'll work this time, baby.
Man, that's all face.
Come on.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
Hey, let's play.
Nope. Not enough. It's not enough.
Let's play.
1 point away from the lethalities.
Yup. Dizello's like, don't have it, don't have it, don't have it, don't have it, don't have it. Don't worry, Dizello. He doesn't have it.
It's literally impossible, yeah. He'd have to have
Yeah.
a third 0-cost follower to deal more than 16 this turn.
Which he doesn't.
And he'd have to have the second Roach. So actually, let's count the damage he can deal this turn without the Roach. So he can play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bounce, 7, 12. So he can only deal 14 damage this turn with what he has.
Yep. And that's not enough.
Not quite enough.
Not enough.
Now, for those of you who think that I'm doing my Roach math very fast, it's because I play a lot of Roach.
He really does.
I love me
really
some
does.
Forest.
That's right. Take the L, Forest.
No.
Keep the curse alive.
Stop it.
Keep the curse
Well,
alive.
Forest has another chance to redeem itself next game, though, so it's okay.
Stop. Stop deluding yourself,
This
man.
ends here.
No, man. No. No, Forrest is gonna win.
I lost.
Keep the curse alive. Keep it alive.
And a lot of times you'll see Roach players just play out their turns anyway because it just gives you more knowledge of the amount of damage you can be dealing with your turns.
Right.
So I have respect for people who finish out their Roach turns. Mad respect.
For sure. For sure. Like, you know, learning exactly how much damage you can do is incredibly important, especially with Forest, because Forest is such a hard class to play, you know? So always taking those opportunities to, you know, get that information and just to know, like, okay, I actually could have done this amount of damage, or even just being able to finish it out so you can go back, watch your replay, and then go, oh, I missed this damage X time at this point, you know? So it's very important.
What? Ketch had a perfect hand on the draw against Urgello in this matchup and just decided to throw it away. But he did get a defensive hand, so not bad. He just threw away all of his Roach and combo cards. I don't mind throwing the Roach back or the Fina back, but throwing the Goblin Mage back, I think, a little hasty. I don't know if I would have done that.
Mm-hmm. So Gisello actually has a very interesting choice here, whether to play a 2-drop or play the Beast Call Aria. He's opting to play the 2-drop because he has the Alice in hand. It's a neutral card. He's just going to go straight for the neutral, you know, destruction face package, which of course just got blown out by Sylvan Justice. But
and it will continue to get blown out by the Elf Twin Assault in hand in combination with the Into the Looking Glass. So Into the Looking Glass is just a symbol card, draws you a card, but it turns all the other cards in your hand into a neutral card. And that allows you to play Elf Twin's Assault in this deck, which is the 2 play point spell that deals X damage to 2 different enemies, random enemies on your opponent's side of the board, equal to the amount of neutral cards that you have in your hand. So just a bunch of defensive options. And he's got the Will of the Forest, so he's going to be able to play defense for a good while here.
now I think that Gisello actually made an error in judgment. With him not playing that Beast Call Aria earlier, now he was stuck playing it on a turn that he really didn't want to play it. You know, and like these turns would have played out very differently had he actually played the Beast Call Aria earlier.
And is electing to do this play this turn so that he can do the Angel of the Word plus Leroll next turn and clear all these fairies away. But in doing so, does allow his opponent to deal the maximum damage that he could. That Ancient Elf draw was pretty OP.
It was a really good draw. Yeah. And then the Evo.
I'm calling this one already. Yeah, I'm calling this one already.
Yeah,
This is
this
is Catch's game.
Yeah, well, it's his game to lose. If he loses it, it's 110% his fault.
To be fair, he doesn't have Roach or Nature's Guidance yet, but he has a very good setup.
Well, actually, Gisello has an amazing setup here. So what he could do is he could play Marchier's Tea Time. He can Evo Shoot Face trade. Next turn, the Beast Call pops the and he's not doing any of what I just said. But then he would have been able to play Garuda and apply even more pressure off of that, popping his Marchier's Tea Time again.
That's true. So now Garuda's not going to get an optimal line here. However, he can play Dark John next turn into this board, which could be good. It'll push some extra damage if he wants to use the Evo point as well. Okay. Glimmering Wings has another defensive option in Elf Queen. Elf Queen, a very non-standard card that you won't see very often, but it basically uses all of your shadows in Forest to gain life for the amount of shadows that you consume, and it's a 7 play point 6/6. So a nice little life gain.
I just want to say that I absolutely don't like this Dark John. I just feel that he would have put himself in a much better position had he done the line that I mentioned before. But I mean, now let's see. This is a 5, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so the Will of the Forest will clear all but one thing, but then he can just use a fairy Evo. Yeah, so his board's just gonna get cleared up here, and or possibly will get cleared up here, and I just feel like he probably should have done. Wait. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I like this way better. This guarantees that everything dies.
Yeah. Yep, that feels bad. And he threw his hands up. He threw his hands up. He did a side lean. He's just like, oh, okay. You know.
To be fair, though, there's no zero-cost cards. Again, there's still no fairies. I mean, no Nature's Guidance or roaches. So there's still plenty of time for Drzello to still create momentum here.
And not to mention, no, never mind. So, March has tea time. He does have a Garuda for next turn. This is kind of the same situation he was in the last time he played this deck. Like, he just didn't have enough damage to kill him off.
Right. So I think Ketch's best line here is okay. This kind of works too. He can play that Goblin Mage and Elf Twin Assault. Well, no, he can't because he hasn't played Into the Looking Glass yet. So he'll Into the Looking Glass and do this. I think a way he could have done this a little better was by playing the Goblin Mage and evoing it, and then also playing Into the Looking Glass and ETA just to get the Roach in hand and to like start that train.
This happened last time. This is exactly what happened to Drzello last time. In the same exact type of situation, he drew Alice, and
I am a flower. I bloom on stage.
but now his board is about to become decimated.
Yeah, Dance plus ETA is just gonna shut the door here.
Yeah. I mean, his opponent has way more cards.
Yeah. Also, could always heal for what can he heal for right now? 14, if he really wants to.
Show's over.
I think it's 15. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Slam the door, why don't you?
Donk.
This is
Yeah. And you see Drzello right there. The Elf Queen pains.
Yep. He had that whelp.
Ooh,
That was fun.
Spicy.
That is spicy. Unfortunately, it just got, his parade was rained on, and, I don't know, man. This is...
Yeah, I don't even know if Drzello can actually come back now. The full heal from Elf Queen there makes it pretty impossible.
Yeah. Yep, this is one of those... Oh, man. You just see your dreams get dashed.
Just a constant stream of removal with ETA's Dance of Deaths, all this nonsense.
100% feels bad.
Lands of wonders, lands of marvels.
Drzello's shaking his head. He's like, man, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Well,
Ooh, sparkly stuff. Gimme.
I think this is pretty much the door, man.
Yep.
You just slam it on him. Just slam it on him gently, Catch. Just do it gently, man.
Hey, let's play.
Yeah, this
Not
is one
sure
of
why
the
he's
big,
playing out all the fairies, but
I don't know either, but this is one of the big problems with Haven decks, and why you may not see them as often, is that for a slower type of class, the Haven, kind of just runs out of cards. And it has a very difficult time generating, some massive amount.
Drzello's just like, this guy just has everything. Like, okay, I've definitely had that feel before. I know most of you guys have.
Yeah. But, yeah, this is just one of those problems with Haven, man. Yeah, just throw in a towel, man. Throw in a towel. Throw it in the bathroom. Just throw it on. The whole thing,
throw it on yourself, right?
Yep, just throw in the tub, throw in the sink, throw in the toilet. It's over, man.
And I can tell you, Drzello probably has a little bit of feelings like, my opponent missed lethal, gave me a chance, he didn't win. We play this force matchup. He has everything he could possibly have. Like, I know the feels Drzello is going through, but on the other hand, Catch played well. On top of missing lethal once, and good on Catch. Catch doing great here. Moving up in the round robin is
the BMs.
I hate always BM with Roach. That's the only BM that is acceptable.
No, it's not acceptable, man. I hate when people do that. I hate it. I'd rather them just kill me. I'd rather them just kill me, man.
I actually want this conversation to continue. Why do you think? I want to hear both sides of the argument. 2-1
So-
going to Catch here, and Dezello kind of losing out to Roach BM. So Exodium, provide your case.
Yeah, so BM in most cases, I don't think it's okay, but roaches are flashy, they're fancy. You don't really get to pull off the combo other than like once per game. So like just, just throw them all down in a row. Be like, I could have dealt to you 28 damage this turn. Feels good, man. Oh yeah, that's all. I don't know. Feels good.
What about you, Aya?
It's just disrespectful, man. I'd rather just be put out of my misery, man.
Just
like if
end
you're
the
gonna
pain.
kill me, just kill me. Like, don't make me sit here and watch the movie.
Forest Craft players need to get up on the ropes. You know what I mean? They need to pace the ring a few times.
That's right.
Yep.
Call it out. Throw him the ear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give him a little bit of that. Yeah. And then you just throw the roaches out. It's good times, baby.
Stop it.
Unfortunately, I'm in Exodium's camp here. When you got a
Get outta
sick,
here, man.
when you got a sick roach combo, you gotta show off the sick roach combo. Let's take a look at the schedule and see what we have remaining today. Just a few matches left, or actually just one match left. Catch versus Suzones. Now, we just watched Forest Craft do take a win in the round robin. It's not winning a tournament, but it is actually winning in kind of a day and age where Forest Craft is actually tough to execute. But Catch this time around did not submit a Forest Craft deck against Suzoni. And we can talk a little bit about why, if you guys have any thoughts about that. But he's running Burn Brune and Mid Shadow, and Suzoni is gonna run Blood Bat and Snowdaria. So I know the thread is ban Snowdaria, right? But what about the other things here? Definitely something that Catch should consider. But why do you think Catch submitted these 3 particular decks instead of going for his Forest Craft deck again? What about the previous match maybe prompted Catch to put Forest in? What are the thoughts here, Exo?
Realistically, it's just Haven. If I think my opponent's going to be bringing Haven and I don't want to ban it, I'm going to bring Forest almost every single time. Forest has a phenomenally good matchup versus Haven most of the time. So that's really the only consideration I'd have for it.
Mm-hmm. What about for you, Aya? About similar? Any other thoughts?
Oh no, that pretty much is it. Like they pretty much summed it up perfectly.
If it's Haven, play Forest. So we'll see. How will Snowdaria do? I feel like it has Snowdaria lost? I don't think so. I don't think a single game Snowdaria has played.
Not a
lost.
game.
And that's Suzoni's thing, right? He's the one that brought it over to the Shadowverse Open. He's the one feeling it, and I still can't believe nobody else is playing it. Nobody else wants to play Snowdaria.
It's tough. It's tough to play.
It's a hard deck. Yeah.
It's a
hard deck.
It's a tough life, but Suzoni seems to have really great mastery. So we're about to jump into the game here. The final game of the day, Catch versus Suzoni. I know you guys have Suzoni's back. I'm going to give the choice to Exo, though. What is the chance that Catch can win? How is he supposed to navigate these matchups to get to that point? Take it away, guys.
All right, well, I think, surprisingly, I think that Catch has a pretty strong chance of winning. I'm still rooting for Suzoni, but I think Catch has a very strong chance of winning. If he can stabilize, early enough against the aggro lineup, he should be all right.
I really feel like with Suzoni's match, it really depends. Like this match really depended on if he got the play or not, which he did. And what we've seen from Suzoni in the past is he knows how to push his aggression. He knows how to just balls to the wall, like just go crazy and Evo, go face, and nonstop. You know what I mean? Like, so we know Suzoni knows what to do when he's on the play. So I feel like that gives him a little bit of a leg up here. So
Catch is considering whether or not he's going to Demon Eater this. I was thinking that was going to be a little bit questionable. Now, by trading with the Urius, he does give a free value trade to his opponent if Suzoni should take it. I doubt it, but just saying.
Yeah, especially with the Vite that was just played, I don't think value trading is necessary, but decides to do it anyway.
Wow.
It's never really a bad option to do a value trade against Shadow, just to shut down the ability to do things like Soul Conversion and Demon Eater.
And not to mention, Catch can't actually kill the Urius, so that Urius is gonna get a lot of damage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna pop the Bone Chimera with the Vampire here, and then trade with one of the Skellies.
Right.
I can't really see a better play than that. Plus, then he can follow up with Vanya and Double Bats.
Oh no, he's doing that right away.
Yep.
It's me.
Yeah.
Vania.
Yeah. Oh man, the damage he's gonna take right now. Yeah, this is exactly what I was referring to earlier. Where I was just like, if he could stabilize, he'd be okay. But like, he's not gonna be able to stabilize through this.
This is
with
not
his curve.
stabilizing.
Yeah. Not with this. I mean, he can trade, which he did. He could play the Lyrio to take out,
To the bone.
one of these. And
Ooh, that was a misplay. He should have played the Demon Eater first.
Killing me.
He needs to present more board options, and now he doesn't have the option to play it afterwards. I mean, he does, but then he'd have to give up his 4-2, which he's gonna do it anyway.
let's do it.
Afraid.
Wow.
Okay, sure. Whatever you feel, man.
I'm sure Suzzoni's more than fine with that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Look at that draw, though.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that draw. Like, Suzzoni, leave him alone, man.
Since I've seen him on this Open, man, he's been on fire. Just like every time he plays an aggro deck, just like the perfect curve, just getting it done.
Yeah.
So fresh.
Suzzoni is basically made of matches, okay? Like, this guy, like,
On fire.
yeah, on fire, okay? And it's week after week, he's just on fire.
Hey, look at him. He did the shrug of himself. He's just like, you know, that's just what it is. He can hear us through the ether. He knows.
Yeah. Oh, man. This is gonna feel so bad right now.
Yep.
This is
Easy Caraboss, easy lethal next turn.
Did you see that? He did the spread eagle, man. He's like, it's over, bro.
It's over, baby.
He did the spread eagle. Oh, Suzzoni, you make me a happy guy. Okay.
He's on fire and he knows it, and he's showboating.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I went first, baby. I went first. You know it.
I'm playing aggro. Wait, you didn't ban my aggro decks? All right, well I'm gonna go first. What up?
Exactly.
Your time won't return to you. Gimme.
Yup. And now Suzzoni can end the game in a myriad of different ways. Like,
Yep. Pretty much any card combination he wants right now. Except for Caraboss. If he plays Caraboss, he can't win this turn. But if he plays Caraboss, he can't lose either, so
yeah.
it doesn't really matter. He could just say go for 3 turns and win the game.
I almost expect him to play the Caraboss. You know why?
Don't do it,
him,
Suzzoni. You're not that mean. Come on.
Yeah, I expect it. He's thinking about an obvious play. Like, I think he's thinking about playing that Caraboss. Like,
Oh, Suzzoni, you dirty. You dirty.
I told you, man. I know Suzzoni, dude. I know Suzzoni. Like, it's like,
Oh my goodness.
what a
Looks like you're
scumbag.
the winner.
Suzzoni. I love Suzzoni, man.
He does it because we know we're going to talk about it, and he's going to watch it later and laugh more to himself.
Yep. He's laughing right now. Catch with this, shaking his head. No, I feel you, Catch. I feel you, man.
So I would have said that the easiest way for Catch to have a chance in this match is by not giving the rune deck on Suzzoni's side multiple games to just get good draws, but that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
This Conjuring
that is
Force
not-
or Snow Daria deck is going to have 2 games to try to win, and it's against 2 matchups that it can right easily win, against Shadow and against Burn Rune.
Yeah, he's.
Matter of
Yeah,
fact, we saw
it
it beat Burn Rune.
seems.
I guess you're looking for
What
a
it
fight.
seems to me is that Suzzoni is, he just piloting that deck, the Conjuring Force, knowing no one's ever, banned. I mean, someone did ban it last week. It did get banned last week, but then they just said, you know what? It's fine. It's no big deal.
Actually, this is a different case. I thought this was going to be Burn Rune. This is actually Neutral Rune. Neutral Rune is actually very strong, but that draw, though, not very strong. Getting better,
such
though.
a good-
Better.
Flower. I on
Now, if there's an Alice to top this off, it might be too much for Conjuring Force Daria to come back with, but we'll see. See how this plays out.
Oh, no, that's another Angel of the Word, which is great. And they're animated. Good job, brother.
Good job. Wise Merman, not a card you see in every neutral deck, but it's definitely a way to empty your hand and find more board position before you play something like a Wizardess to refill.
Alright, now Suzzoni knows he's about to take some damage to the face, and he's hoping his opponent doesn't have Alice, and he doesn't. So, he's very fortunate.
Yes.
No!
No.
What's wrong with that play?
I would have hit face. Because I'm
Just
me,
all face.
and that's that. All face. You're first.
I would have made the
you're
play that
first.
catch made.
You're done for.
Face.
It's just
Okay.
like back in the old
Face.
days.
Anyway, moving on. So, Catch is running out of cards, but he does have Wizardess of Oz to kind of get his hand back up after he does. And, you know, Catch is actually in a very good position to win this
I'm all
game.
tuckered out.
He can
You're done
just
for.
kind of like keep presenting pressure.
Crying. No looking back.
Yeah, that's the real threat of Neutral Rune. Neutral Rune is a deck that looks very unassuming. It's just like you're just playing a bunch of followers with a couple removal spells. The thing that Neutral Rune can do is always pressure. Even against a control deck, when you remove their cards every single turn, they'll just present more pressure. You deal with their board, they'll Wizardess of Oz and refill their hand and present more pressure. It's kind of like what Daria did in the olden days, but a lot better at the moment. It just keeps presenting pressure, and like it doesn't have to it doesn't require you doing all these crazy things to make it happen.
Right.
I'm just a mage who's as old as dirt.
So, Suzzoni gonna Evo this Time War Mage Levy, is gonna send it right into the Felice, but
Preposterous.
can Catch find a way to end Suzzoni right here?
Yeah, I believe this is an easy Witch of Sweets into Faria. You just want to try to empty your
another
hands.
I am a flower. I bloom on stage.
Yeah, you just pass. You don't Evo. Witch of Sweets is not neutral. Okay, I see some people make that mistake.
Yeah. It is not
They
neutral.
Evo the Faria. Yeah.
Show's over.
Yeah, this is just a building turn. Versus Zoni.
Uh-oh. People, remember the following statement. Kill the snowman.
all snowmen.
Yes.
The next
Kill
match will be
the snowman.
tastier.
One snowman could mean GG. Okay? Just
I
one.
am a fiction and a falsehood.
So
I like
we'll
this,
see
actually.
3 of the snowmen dying here.
Yeah, I like this. He's going to do 4 damage to his opponent, and he'll empty his hand just a little bit more for another Wizardess next turn.
Unbelievable.
And he's gonna have a massive follower with Suzzoni not having an Evolution Orb left.
Fictions will save you.
Right. So, to explain what Wizardess of Oz does, it draws until you have 5 cards in your hand, and it changes the all spells in your hand that don't have the spell boost mechanic on it to 1. And the last words effect is the downside of the card. If it dies, then you lose all the spells that are currently in your hand.
Yep.
This is only
So-
Rhyme Wind.
Rhymewind great. Rhymewind we've talked about already on what it does. Now you get to see the power of it. It gets to push that big follower back into hand while also presenting a fully minted board.
Yep. I think that this may be. This is game. This
Let's
is
see,
game.
5, 6, 7. How many play points does Enchanted Sword cost right now? I can't.
I think
see
it's
it.
0. I believe it's 0. I can't.
If it's
tell,
0,
but-
then this might be game.
I feel
Yeah.
slushy.
I think it's 0.
Because if it's 0, he gets to Kaleidoscopic Glow the Unica.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it's. I don't think it's. Well, no. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay. I think the Enchanted Sword's not 0. I think that's what's happening.
Okay.
Ow.
Oh no, it is 0.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Then he does have lethal. Okay. Yep. Easy lethal. Look at that.
Yep.
Sizoni just sitting there, letting it soak in.
He's letting him
doing a little stretch.
Sizoni, stop it, man! Just put him out of his misery.
Puts his headphones in. He's like, take a sip of water. Like, take a walk around the house.
Pop some popcorn. He's done, man. But, oh man, Sizoni, stop it.
And this looks like the same list he's been playing without any changes, just murking people.
Yep.
Sizoni winning 2-0 again. And I actually felt like that was incredibly close. It really seemed like Burn Room was going to come through. But back-to-back Rhyme Win and Summon Snow, the Snowmen really locked it in.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought skeletons were scary, but apparently the tokens to watch out for are snowmen. We live in a day and age where there's skeletons, bats, and snowmen coming for Shadowverse players. But
That's right.
2-0, Conjuring Force really flexing its muscles today. I feel like we've seen Conjuring Force, like, we've seen it win through Daria, we've seen it win through the lack of Conjuring Force, and now we've even seen Conjuring Force come in. What are the limits to this deck? It seems just insane to me that nobody else is investing the time to learn how to play it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is the SOS, man.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
It's the shrug. It's just a really good deck. It has a lot of angles of attack. It's really hard to play against. It's really hard to play. It's just it's an interesting deck. It technically can get bricked out like quite often, but as Sizoni does not get bad draws with that deck. He has not gotten a single bad draw. I don't know
how he does it. We got to press the SOS button. Shadowverse Open Shrug. What the heck is happening? Let's take a look at the schedule to see what we've gone through today. Lots of matches. There's the standings for you guys. Akamaru Red continuing his streak at 3-0, and in fact, the two groups look very, very similar. Akamaru and Sizoni heading up the groups, and then the second place guys at 2-1 is Countess and Catch, and then we've got Praetorian and Cheapy tied with each other, and Symphonus and Fatina tied with each other, and the 2-0-2s down at the bottom there. Akai and Lanathel on Group A, and Derzello and Essia in Group B. So, groups are shaking out. At the end of the second week for Europe here, this is about the halfway point for most of the players right now. Sizoni and Akamaru Red have a very commanding lead. 2 more matches left for them to play, and it's entirely likely that they'll be in the top 3. It seems almost... I feel like you would have to make a perfect run and get a bunch of 4-1s, and they would have to go 3-2. I feel like I'm gonna figure out this math when we go when we go off air, but they feel like, I mean, 3-0. I think they're about locking in their place in the finals right now.
With the heat rating aiding off of these players too, you know, like what's to stop them?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, what would stop Sizoni is he doesn't want to melt his own snowman, but. Those are the standings for you guys. A few messages here for everybody. You could go to shadowverse.nge.io if you want to find more information about the tournament, where to watch the broadcast, what the schedule is, who these players are. There's a lot of great content, some contributed by Aya Senpai himself, some interviews with players and whatnot. There's a lot of cool stuff there. Also, at Shadowverse Game is the Twitter account that you want to go to find any updates, news posts, and sometimes some fun interactions with the community and the players and whatnot. Definitely join the conversation there. Make sure to hop in our Discord. There's a lot of good people there, a good community there that will help you out if you need questions or look for somebody to play with, or you can talk to one of the commentators or some of the pro players perhaps. So definitely join that. Download the game. It's in the panels. And follow the stream if you like it. So, European Round Robin Week 2 has closed out. Short thoughts, Exo. How did you like today?
I think that the missed lethals this time were actually more exciting than not exciting. I feel like they really put a lot of fun into these games. Like, I don't think it to knock the players at all for those missed lethals. Very intense and like very crazy good games. And we just get to see, like, I don't know, like we have players that are on fire in Europe right now, and it feels good to watch them play, execute their game plans, and it looks pretty flawless. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of missteps. It's just, man, these guys, whew.
Really, really exciting to see, especially Akamaru and Sizoni, and even some of the other players. You know, some of their matches are actually quite intense. How about for you, Aya Senpai? What are your favorite moments of the day?
Oh man, I gotta say Patina pulling off Deathly Tyrant, man. That's probably that's hey, you never see it, dude. You never see it.
That's true,
So it's great
especially
to
not
see
in
it
tournament
happen.
play.
Yeah, that's for
so I'm
sure.
glad to see-
Myth Tyrant has been the dream for a long time, and we finally get to see it. We've seen a lot of interesting combos. We've seen a lot of interesting wins in Week 2 of the European Round Robin. Tomorrow, the same time, the same channel, we're going to have the North American Round Robin Week 2. So stay tuned or tune back in at that moment if you want to see how North America will pan out. Hoping to catch you guys there. I'm Rainey. That is The Carter. And that's The Pickens. Did I add an S to your last name?
No, it has an S.
nice,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Pickens. Okay.
You're good.
I keep that. The Pickens. I like the S. I like the S there.
Yeah, but the S is there, so.
Well, that's
yeah.
his name, so you better get to like it.
All right, guys. Well, enough fooling around from us. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place for the North American Round Robin.